And we are back with another Black with No Cream podcast. New episode every single Wednesday and Sunday. I'm your host, Ben Haggerty, a.k.a. Ben Realverse World. How are you motherfucking doing today? That's good to hear. Today's podcast guest, CJ Wallis. He directed this documentary, right? This is how I tripped on CJ's work. He directed this documentary called The Perfect Bid. And it's about a guy that goes on The Price is Right and falls in love with The Price is Right from an early age all the way into adulthood. And it's the strangest shit you will ever watch from a documentary standpoint. It follows through with this guy's history and the show and all this stuff. And it randomly popped up on Netflix. I clicked on it, watched it with my girl, and was just kind of laughing after watching it, like, damn, what a weird film. So I post on Twitter, man, you guys gotta check this one out. This is weird as hell. Someone responds like, yo, I'm pretty sure that's Currency's director that did that. And I'm like, what the hell? So I look into it and they tag him in and I find out that it is. And I used to watch all the Currency videos, all the Jet Life stuff, and early on, you know, and was a fan of that stuff. And come to find out that CJ is like the creative director for Jet Life Films and takes care of all that stuff and has gone on to make a bunch of documentary films. And I was like, what the hell? That's so random. What a weird segue from like rap culture to this random ass show about this guy. And I mean, he had Bob Barker and all these people on the show. It was so crazy. So I reached out and I said, yo, bro, you should get on the Black with No Cream podcast. You know what he said? I'm down. So we got him on the show. We get to share his story and how he got to where he is today, directing a film that goes on to be on Netflix. Is so crazy. What an achievement. And he's got plenty more up his sleeve. So this is the episode on CJ Wallis, and I'm happy for you guys to listen to this. Documentary filmmaking is not easy. It's very challenging, and there's a lot to learn from this. If you're new to the podcast, Black with No Cream is a creative collective. We focus on, you know, educating creators and providing a safe space for creators to come and share their ideas and ask questions and get feedback. So if you want to join the community, you can by going to bwnc.com/join. You can also join us on Patreon, patreon.com/blackwithnocream, which is a way to financially support the community and this entire movement and podcast, and also get access to our private Discord channel, which is a little bit more exclusive, you feel me? You get that and a bunch of other perks, including a bonus morning roast episode that we do every month and live streams. So anyway, check that shit out. Glad to have you here, and let's get into this intro right motherfucking now.
Attention.
If you stop this podcast recording at any time, you will die.
I don't want to die.
Do you want to live?
Yeah.
You have 24 hours to share this podcast with 5 people or you will die.
I'm kidding, you won't die. You're just weak shit for not sharing.
And the winner of the best motherfucking podcast goes to...
Black with No Cream.
What do you think?
It's so fucking dumb and so fucking Ben Haggerty.
I knew you would say that. And we are back with another Black with No Cream podcast. New episode every single Wednesday and Sunday. I'm your host, Ben Haggerty, a.k.a. Ben Realverse World. Today, CJ Wallis joins us on the podcast.
Yes, sir.
How's it going, man?
You're doing excellent. It took,
I'm going to make it force you to talk into this microphone.
Oh, I'll do it.
Usually behind the camera, now behind the mic.
I wonder why all my strip films have shitty sound. Now I know.
Yeah, you just got to, you know, kind of do that
Talk
part of the
into it,
direction.
yeah.
And, what's up, man? How's it going?
I'm in LA. It's awesome.
Right. New Orleans is where you live.
Yes.
And how do you like it down there?
It's hot.
It's hot as fuck.
I'm Canadian. It's hot.
You sound Canadian.
Where
are you from?
Vancouver.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you like poutine?
No.
Shit sucks.
I eat nothing. I eat nothing. I like nothing. I eat nothing.
What the fuck? Wait, are you vegetarian or something?
No. I just don't eat. I just don't like anything. I'm the worst. But my biggest nightmare is like when you first go to a girl's house or something, and like the parents or even they're cooking. It's just like I'm not even like I'm just picky. I just don't like any flavors of anything.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Ever since forever?
Yeah.
All right. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So you have no favorite food?
No. Chicken breasts, plain with salt on it.
That's
some
fair.
bread.
Basic, man.
If I ever go to prison, I'm going to be straight. Like,
yeah, you'll be super good.
Yeah.
You'll be super fine there.
Yeah.
You're going to be great. The last meal, the same shit I've been eating in prison for 30 years. All right. So this is how this all happened. I just like to preface how this linked.
Yeah.
I watched your documentary, The Perfect Bid, on Netflix. Shout out to you for getting it on Netflix. That's tight. It was a recommended doc that came up after I watched something else. I don't know. I was like, what the fuck is this? Click it. Start watching it with my girl. Instantly, like, yo, what the fuck? This is the craziest shit. And then you're enamored and you're just watching the whole film. And I'm just like, this is the craziest shit. Can you please, like, in a quick paragraph, like, summarize what the film's about? So,
Oh, definitely. It's about a man named Ted Slauson, who is a high school, he works for the government and makes all the tests through, like, elementary school to high school to decide how smart you are.
Right.
So he's, like, super smart.
Yeah.
So he hated The Price is Right as a child, but his brothers and that always watched it. So he started to just realize that they use the same fridge all the time. And, you know, in the beginning of the show, they only had so many products because they had to get sponsorship. So the same fridge would show up over and over and over and over again.
And Price is Right, you just, like, the person's on stage and they have to guess what the price is.
Right. Yeah, there's the four of them. Yeah. I think, like, I grew up with it, so I realize it's, like, not in everyone's thing.
Right.
So there's like four people, and they get shown one prize, and then if they get that right close as well going over, it goes up to play another game. You do the wheel, and you can showcase all that sort of stuff.
Right.
So Ted has spent his life memorizing every price of The Price is Right since 1972.
He means it when he says his life.
Oh, for
like,
sure.
His entire life is committed to this shit.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
But early on, he's like, oh, there's like 100 prizes maybe. So he's just categorizing. This fridge is $1,000.
Right.
This is $600. So
Right.
he's really got detailed with that shit.
I always sort of describe it like as a Beatles thing. He's like, if now you said you knew every Beatles lyric, that would be like, holy shit.
Right.
But if you, like, got there when they started and just learned every album as they came out, it wouldn't be as crazy.
Yeah.
So it's like
so
he's got this whole thing, but it's like, you know, every year they added 25 things. So it's like, it's still a shit ton, but he started making computer programs and all these things so he could, like,
practice
Rain Man himself. Bob Barker and them obviously started to get to know him, and, you know, he started screaming things from the audience and helping people win. And he's like, honestly, you have to watch it. It's not even.
You have
I'm
to
not
watch
even
it.
saying that as a mark. It's been out for 2 years. So
Yes.
like, I'm not like.
Hey, has it been out for 2 years?
Yeah. It
Wow.
started in 2017. We did the festival circuit.
But when did it go to Netflix?
Last year, May.
Okay.
Yeah. Or this year, May. What are we in? August? Yeah, it's been on
Yeah.
for 4 or 5 months.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
So it must have just came out because it was just getting pushed to me.
They didn't,
or whatever.
for whatever reason, they passed the first time, and then, like, a year to the day that we came out, they, like, got it right away.
Damn. Do you
So
think it
I don't
has
know.
anything to do with the festival circuit?
No, I think Amazon. I think it did pretty well on Amazon, and then we were on Hulu too, and I think they just sort of
Pay attention
heard
to
enough
that.
stuff. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad it did because it just, like, literally showed up. And I'm telling you, if you're listening to this shit, you have to go fucking watch this documentary because it will blow your fucking mind.
It's
It was
crazy.
crazy. This guy's dedication to this because he didn't even live. Where did they shoot that shit? In LA, right?
Yeah, and he's from San Antonio.
So this guy's coming from San Antonio, Texas, like, often to the show,
Yeah.
to the point where people start to notice him in and out of the lines. Like, they recognize him coming into the show. He's like this fan favorite. Like, he's like the guardian angel of people on stage because the fans can yell, like, the guests, like, they
Right.
can help you, right? Like,
Right.
your ask a friend line, basically, or whatever. But it's crazy. It blew my mind. And I go on Twitter and I type in, like, dog, I just watched the craziest shit, blah, blah, blah. And then someone tagged me and they go, yo, I think that's Currency's dude. I'm like, what the hell? Yeah, the guy that directed it is Currency's guy, and, like, tagged you. And then I look it up and I'm like, oh shit, from, like, all the Jet Life stuff.
Yeah,
and I was
yeah.
like, damn, I used to watch that show all the time. And then I literally DM you, like, you should come on the podcast. You're like, all right. And then
6 months ago.
yeah, 6 months later it happened. We
Yeah.
tried to get this crack off early on, but you know, you're a busy man, bro. You're out here making tons of shit.
I'm trying.
Wow, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah. And then the new Drew Carey took over the show, and then a new team took over, and they weren't as friendly to Ted.
Right.
It takes a weird turn that I don't really tip until you get there.
Yeah.
So a lot of people kind of tuned out halfway through, thinking it was just a documentary of this guy being a blowhard and just being like, look at all this shit I
Yeah.
know. But, like, if there's like a progression to it that, like,
Yeah, at the end it gets super crazy.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
very, very controversial. I think it was, like, all over fucking the internet for
definitely.
it being, like, the most controversial game show conspiracy type.
it was one of the
scenario.
first spam things that I ever got was like, look at this crazy. It was about the guy that took credit for Ted's achievement. Yeah, he's still spam. Like, it still comes up on Facebook, the greatest contestant ever. And then I, like, write on, no, he didn't. But now it's like people are self-policing it. Like, the last 2 years,
Right.
I feel kind of bad because Terry's Facebook has taken a little bit of a beating.
Damn. No,
Yeah.
it's an incredible story. Everyone definitely check it out. Before I mean, we can get into how this all came to be and shit, but like the fact that you did all of Currency stuff, because you did that for a matter of years, like that.
since 2011,
right? And then that's all I knew, right? So then I hop on your website, and you have a great layout, I must add.
Thank you.
40 FPS. Check that out. Is that your favorite frame rate?
And I also like to pick the worst marketing names ever to like.
Sick.
Yeah, it's like people in the crowd are like, yeah, what's your Twitter? Like 40FO, no U, FP, and FPS sounds like a lot of letters.
Right.
I came up with it a long time ago, and it's like it's stuck now.
Just you had you're sworn to it.
Yeah.
No, but it was cool because I was reading about you, and you've done so much different shit.
Yeah.
Like you've made so many different films. You've worked on so many different projects, producing, being behind the scenes on so many different things, even like feature films that were independently owned. Like I think there's so much shit to walk through because I want to go through how this all came to be.
Cool. Yeah.
But just the fact that I remember watching the Currency videos. I always say this when I meet people that made dope shit that I like grew up on. You know what I mean? Like in the sense of like I wanted to be involved in this scene so bad, but I lived in Iowa, so I'm in Iowa studying the fuck out of everyone that's dropping tour content because I was obsessed with it. Right?
Yeah, me too.
I'm like, I want to make that shit. But those episodes and your use of like Twitter shit and like all this stuff, like I would always just be like showing my friends like, damn, look how crazy this is. Like this makes too much sense. Like how he did that to get into this and What was the experience like? And I mean, we can go back, we'll get into it, but just for you to have taken that opportunity on and then make you literally like they gave you your own president role, a one-man band president role, like, or what's the technical term? Like, what did you become? The president?
He put Jet Life Films president. Musa tweeted that one day just out of nowhere, and I was just like, oh, for sure.
Damn,
that's all right.
It's a hard ass title.
Yeah,
they give you like a one of those little parking lot like things that just said president of Jet Life Films. That's sick.
Yeah, you work in hip hop, you know that's how that goes for camera people.
No, but I mean, like, what was it that made them gravitate towards you?
I mean, one day Spitta put up a tweet, and I hit them a couple times. I didn't know to hit Musa, his manager, so I was hitting Spitta, and I didn't know how verified Twitter worked. I didn't know I was just tweeting into a vortex of, Instagram models and all these other people. And then one day he put up a tweet that said, who can edit really fast and is sick with a 5D? And I'm like, I have a 7D. Fuck it, he doesn't know.
Yeah.
So I just kept hitting them, and then eventually he posted, hey, hit Musa. And I was like, oh, there's a manager, of course.
Right.
I was an idiot. I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
So I hit Musa, and I guess he looked at the site, and all I had was like Canadian lyrical female videos.
Right.
And I was like, trust me, I can do hip hop.
Yeah.
And he eventually gave us a shot. And now I've got so much hip hop, I'm trying to do pop stuff now. I'm like, trust me, I can do pop.
Yeah.
Right.
Just look at my website.
Yeah. So they brought me down to LA, and by that I mean they invited me. And at the time I had no money. So I drove down to LA 24 hours to do this opportunity. It was the Rock the Bells festival.
Oh, right.
And so I didn't know anything. I thought I was Scorsese there to shoot the last waltz, and I was just like the cameraman of the day.
Right.
So we filmed the show, and everything's fine. And then Spitta jumps off the stage to go talk to the crowd, and he like caught his foot on the wire and like cracked his ankle.
Oh, yeah.
But I guess he was in shock, and then he jumped over the barrier, and not on any like rah-rah shit. If anyone knows Jet Life, we're not rah-rah.
Right.
And then he jumped over again, and I guess he just like crack.
Oh, fuck.
And dude. I was like, oh no. And then I can see him, he like looked at Musa and said something, and all of a sudden he was whisked away, and I'm like, I don't know anything, so I'm just following. And then like Musa all of a sudden picks him up, and they like slam the door in the trailer, and I was like, I'm not going in there, because I was just like, I was super passive at the time, so I was like, I can't go in there, I was something. And anyways, they got in a van and drove off, and I was just sitting, they didn't tell me anything, and I'm like, so anyways.
Dog, that's...
Yeah.
Wait, so this is your first day?
First day with him, yes.
Sick.
Yeah. And he was like just about to go on tour with Method Man and Big Crit and all these people on a 60-day tour, and it was just like the meal ticket, like everything was just, and now that I know them, I know the chaos that was happening. But
before you continue, was it come meet us, or like, here, we want to invite you to this show to like do your thing?
He said to come down and do lifestyle video, and I didn't know what that meant at the time, because I was still I was just like, I want to do a music video,
right? And
he's like, come down, we'll do lifestyle, and I was kind of, I didn't really know. I didn't know lifestyle just meant regular documentary shit.
Right.
And so I was like, for sure. And then I was just like, I drove down. There was no ticket. There was no
From
anything.
Canada?
Yeah. 24
Fuck.
hours. I said I had $200 or something like that. And I was just like, I had enough money to get there, and whatever happened was going to happen. I just kind of like trust the spider sense, and it hasn't let me down yet.
Damn.
Yeah.
And did you know there was a possibility that you would go on the tour?
No, there was nothing. There was, you're going to come and do this one thing. And I'm like, well, what else is there to do in life? I'm sitting on it, I'm going to go drive. It's 3 days,
Wow.
I'll remember driving, even if I'm broke later, I'll remember the 3 days that I drove down. Like I always do memories over money.
Right. I love that.
Yeah.
So he breaks his foot, his ankle or whatever, and then gets whisked away.
Yeah, they just took off, and I was at like a pretty low point. Obviously, never mind the money. it was like at a dip in the career, and it was just, I kind of had a self-involved moment where I drove away, and I was just like, I'm sick of this shit. Like, I kind of was just like, the video's gone.
Every rapper I meet, they fucking break their ankle. Right. I'm tired of this shit.
Every single one. And then I just had to like, I don't know. It's just, you just have one of those weird crisis moments that doesn't make sense, and you just like throw your toys out of the crib for no reason.
Right.
And then it's just like, you have this footage that no one in the world has. And it's just like, I texted Musa, I'm like, where are you guys? He's like, we're at X&O Hospital. And I drove over there and sat there. And me and Musa sat in a van until like 3 a.m. And I thought, I don't know. I was just like, he's like, and eventually Musa's like, he's not going to want to film when we get out, right? And I was just like, I don't know. I was just like, I'm here with the team.
Yeah.
Like, what's going to happen?
Right.
And I wasn't filming anything. We were just sitting there and like, I don't know. And then I went back home. And I spent 4 or 5 days cutting the thing, which I didn't know in hip hop was like the longest thing ever.
Well, back then
it was kind of okay, but now it's like
right. Need in 3 minutes.
If you don't have the edit video button on your laptop, you're hit.
Right.
I don't know where the Twitter thing just came from. Like, I didn't have any content with Spitta, so like when he was in the hospital, he was just on the Novocaine, just being like, my leg's fucked up, bruh, and all this shit. So I had nothing but B-roll. Yeah. So it just like, it became a thing, and like I didn't realize. I don't know.
But the video smashed. Like, people fucking went crazy for it.
Yeah. It got a bit. Yeah. It doesn't have a ton of views, but it's like it got the people that watched it wrote stuff about it.
Right.
Yeah. And it definitely. What more bizarre way to start a 10-year working relationship with someone than like both of our worst days, kind of. Yeah. And it wasn't even that worst. I didn't have a bad day.
But still,
I just don't know how to describe it. It was just like, the ends. Like, all right, everything's been shitty. At least I'm going to have a lifestyle video with this dude I've been trying to get in touch with. And then it's whatever. And then it kind of went away, and they drove. I was just like, ugh.
Man.
Which again is ridiculous. I'm fully aware. But just in the moment, you're just like, damn it, what more can go sideways?
Well, yeah, because
for everybody,
for sure, it's like there's no tour, there's like no it may be another several months before another opportunity like this for him specifically would open up. But is it like instantly they see the video and they're like, holy shit, this is dope, and then the invite to like work beyond that happens because he's out for some time, right?
Yeah.
Like the tour got canceled.
They saw the video and they liked it. Same thing as you. I watched a lot of tour videos and then saw what people weren't doing, and then I did all that. So that way, when I see it later on, I'm like, hey, you saw something. And, everybody, but it's just like there was some very specific things that I saw people weren't doing that I wanted to incorporate.
Do we definitely, because I used to make music and shit and did a whole rap shit, and when we go do our little shows and we try to make these highlights of it, I for sure stole the tweet thing. I was like, this is the coolest shit ever. We got to have a tweet thing too.
But it's so easy to do, but what got me sort of frustrated with that is daily people would say, bro, how do you put the tweets in the video?
Yeah.
And if you like know Photoshop or know anything even like this much, it's like it's a pretty easy thing to do.
Yeah.
So I just kind of got like didn't want to reveal how I pulled the magic, but it's just like the stupidest, it's the easiest thing ever. Yeah. And I'm still not going to say it. If you don't know how to do it, don't ask me. You're not at the stage, honestly. Yeah. I kind of felt like, and some of them, if I was where I felt like I was on a soapbox or something, I'd just be like, if you don't know how to do that, you honestly aren't at the stage, like you don't know how to, like you probably don't know yet how to kind of sequence stuff together, because that's like, that's just a kind of a simple thing. Yeah.
But I was just talking to a friend that's a photographer, and he was like using some new filter thing or whatever to like manipulate his photos, and someone was asking him what it was, and he's like, if you can't do the 3 minutes of Googling that I did when I found to find this, like just keywords, things that it might be like, if you can't even do it justice to do that, like why do I have to tell you? Like, I believe in you to do this. You know what I mean? You have to think outside the box in this world.
Definitely.
Like, you have to. So fuck. Okay.
So anyway, he saw the video. I was producing a feature film at the time. We were probably 10 days away from shooting, and of course I get the call from Musa, do you want to come on tour with us? So then I was just like, oh. Again, it was one of those moments where it's like the dream opportunity, and knowing that like the 45 people I was going to have to call and ask if I could go do this thing. And I ended up leaving the feature film to go do it. So I went on tour with them, and I got an education on hip-hop photography very, very quickly. All aspects.
I believe it.
And I'm sure you've talked about them in the past, so I'm sure just even saying that people sort of know what I'm alluding to. But
yes.
So it's just, it's like, all right, we left Philadelphia and we shot until 2 a.m, and it's 8 a.m, you better have the video ready. And then at 9, and at 6 a.m, everyone's going to be awake on the bus playing music, and you went to bed at 5:45. And then if you're not shooting by 9 to 2, you don't got it's goddamn madness.
It truly is. I don't think people understand the reality of what it's like working on that level of hip hop. You know what I mean?
Tour is amazing if you're a rapper.
Right. If
you're
a rapper.
Anybody else, tour is not.
Yes.
Tour is not the thing.
It's so true.
It's not the party thing. I mean, you can smoke a little weed, do whatever you're doing. If you can drink a little bit, but if you're like actually a filmmaker that wants to do this, it's like you are 22 hours a day for 60 days, and like. You look crazy and you're sweaty and gross and people don't want to stand next to you. It's straight up, it's crazy. Because, I mean, just the first couple of tours is like, there's like 2 hotel rooms.
Right.
So it's like, and then like the best friend to whoever goes up and gets the one and doesn't come out. And then the other one is like for 30 people in 1 hour to shower.
Shower, man.
So it's just like, and then you're the cameraman, you're the kicker on the football team.
Yep.
So it's like you can win the game, but also go over there and kick it up in the air and catch it, whatever you do.
Well, fucking put. So we just did an episode about this shit on our morning roast, the one with the cool intro.
Yeah.
And secondary to the one we just recorded. But we talked about what was the title of that shit, Dave? It was like tour is not what you think it is. Because everyone, it's funny because like my first real tour, I've done so many like punk tours back in the day when I was like in that whole shit, and like slowly we did the 15 passenger van, 12 people in the shit, like, you know what I mean, traveling the whole US. But then my first real tour was Schoolboy Q's tour, and that was that experience that you just described.
Right.
It was his Blank Face tour, so he told me the Oxymoron tour was like 10 times crazier. He was just on a million drugs and shit, so he kind of grew up quick between those two, which was dope for me.
Yeah.
But then Dave's first tour was, I brought him on Beyonce's tour, so he got the fucking
the straight up
the deluxe. Like, I'm telling you, like when we were on tour, I'm like, this is the life. Like what we're doing right now.
That's what I want to ask you about once we get going.
Yeah.
Once you get me out of the way. That's
right.
What I need. You probably talked about it.
It's a whole another level of like, life is tight. Like you have a room for content. You know what I mean? Everyone
Life
has
is
hotel
tight.
rooms. It's shit.
Yeah.
Completely different. But he has yet to experience this shit.
Right.
which we may soon. But anyway, so before that, like you said, you were doing this feature, okay? So I know you did several different production things prior to this. So you were in Canada doing all this shit before you sent it and just like drove down to LA or wherever the first show was.
Yeah, I was actually rep with William Morris for film before I went down. Like people were like, you started with Currency. I love to see where you grew from.
Right.
I was like,
been doing this.
Okay, yeah, and then you're like, you're just an asshole. They're like, no one wants to hear you be like, actually.
Yeah.
But it's just like there was like a huge, there was a bunch of crap that I was like really proud of before that.
Well,
so
and I think that a lot of people don't understand how much that plays into what you end up, because you create a piece of work with Currency that I don't think anyone that could just start shooting like, I have a 70 and I want to shoot videos. Right. They don't just start with that. Like the experience you had prior is what sets you up to create proper tour docs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what was some of the shit? Like when did you start getting creative? Like was that early in like high school and stuff?
Yeah, I was a goalie in hockey because in Canada you're legally required to start hockey at age 3.
That's tight.
So I was a goalie, but I'm 5'6" and like 135 now. So like you can imagine whatever I was back then, and like goalies were 6 foot. So
oh my god.
Anyway, so that was like 24/7, like all the time. Me and my dad, that was my thing.
Right.
And then eventually, like I started to get a Pulp Fiction bit on my painted helmet. Like it would be like some hockey thing, and then like a, Pulp Fiction poster on the back, and it just slowly started to like. I started like editing and shoot. My dad would shoot things of games, and I'd be like editing that stuff.
Oh wow!
I'd be like, I made that save, so like that'll go good with this song cue,
right? Which
is ridiculous.
No,
like my parents should have saw it coming.
Yeah.
The conversation me and my dad had to quit hockey, which was intense. he should like at the end of there's like 5 years of like of movie stuff that's there was a clear segue coming. So yeah, just I made Junior A hockey in 1999 and then quit to start all over to do this.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, I just drew my whole life and made videos in high school instead of doing like projects. Any class where you could be like, if you did an essay, but I would just like make some stupid video with crappy like VCR to VCR, old school shit.
That's right, old school shit. Was it?
I'm still doing the stare thing from the opening.
Was it? What, when you say Junior A, whatever the fuck you just told me, what does that mean? How does that mean? Like
that's like LSU or like it was like college football for hockey.
Got it. All right, cool. So
we're not in Canada right now. I'm
sorry, bro.
Yeah,
I went there. I got jumped in Canada the first time I ever went.
That's a lie.
Within an hour.
Wow.
It was on the east side, whatever Toronto. I was on. You know what I mean? But
Toronto's all hyped up.
It was weird.
Yeah. Vancouver's weird. Like LA. We're like late. We're Canada, LA.
Right. I like
Everybody's chilled out. They don't work as fast as LA.
Right. Yeah.
But it's that vibe. Yeah. Toronto's pretty intense.
It was
for
wild.
sure.
It was a weird experience. But like, is that when you play hockey? Are you playing hockey for a college?
No, you get like letters sent to you from teams. It's almost like reverse film festivals.
Okay.
They like send you letters to come try out, and then you pay them, and then you get to go, and you're probably not going to make the team.
Damn.
You're like paying for their jerseys or their beer later or whatever.
But you did make one?
Yeah, I made one of them. It was in Nelson, BC. And,
Nelson, damn.
Yeah,
my boy Mike, he's on the podcast too. He's from Nelson. That's funny as fuck.
It's cool up there, but it was just like...
he said it's a small town. And
definitely. Oh, for sure.
There's not a lot to do.
For sure.
Damn.
And I mean, I don't really do anything, but that kind of factored into it. I was like 18, and they were like, there's nobody here. And I was like, I'm the goalie rock star. How is that going to benefit me if there's nobody to show off to?
Damn.
Which is stupid. That's a lie.
No, it's exactly why you do it.
That's exactly why. You're the goalie. It's a show-off position. I'm not going to pretend it wasn't.
Maybe if I could get a camera, I could be on stage with famous rappers.
Right.
In the background of some photographer's photo.
Right.
But
tagged in the back.
Then what? So like you switch into, you clearly become a fan of creating.
Yeah. Actually, the thing that a lot of people don't know is I couldn't, in high school, I didn't want to stay up till 12:30 in the morning, but I used to be obsessed with Conan O'Brien. So I have boxes and boxes of my parents' cabins of like his shows. I would just tape them.
Wow.
On and like X-Files and Signs. I just taped shit. I don't know why. And like, I don't know. So anyway, oh no, I lost my spot.
No, you were taping shit. I used to do that shit all the time. I would record like soundtracks because I couldn't afford the actual, like
I appreciate you. Yeah.
I really did. I would always do it. I would sit there with my tape player and I would like wait till the radio came on and play a song and I'd record it. Or I'd sit there and we just talked about Space Jam. I'd literally like try to record all the music for Space Jam so I could like listen to it in my room when I wasn't by the TV. But
it was recording Conan. I forgot why.
Yeah, recording Conan.
See, I get too far ahead.
It's all good. Don't worry about it.
So anyways, it got to shows like that at the time. It was sort of like if you watch them regularly, you could sort of predict the joke. So after like 2 or 3 years of watching the show, I wrote a bunch of material and just like blindly sent it to them. And they flew me out there.
What the fuck?
Yeah. It was
Dog,
during the fifth season.
Are the perfect bid, dude.
Yeah, I know.
That's that shit.
That's why I related. Yeah.
That's crazy. It makes so much sense now.
Yeah.
No, really?
Yeah.
They flew you out to, where was this in New York? Where he shot in New York?
Yeah, it was right after their 5th year. Todd Solondz was the guest, like Happiness. And like Al Green was the guest that day. I asked them to watch the show and they said they were full. I'm like, I can just stand in the back. And they're like, no.
Wait, so why did they fly you there?
Oh, so that's the thing. They did zero due diligence. I was in high school.
That is fucking funny as shit.
Yeah. You should have seen their faces when this guy showed up.
Right.
Yeah. All 4'8" of me.
So you sent what? Just a list of jokes?
I did like a doc, like Microsoft 97.
And they're like, this is great. We gotta have him work on the team.
They brought me out and I came up to a thing and the producer was like, hey man. I was like, hey, what's up? And like Andy Richter was over there trying to send a fax and he couldn't, and like Max Weinberg was over there and just like, it's just like cool little office. And I was just like, I've made it.
You gotta be tripping at this point.
They had a huge poster of his like Rolling Stone thing with the big
hair.
Yeah. And just like, what the hell am I doing here?
Was he, what year was this?
98 or 99. The fifth,
so this is
right
before
after
9/11.
the 5th year. Yeah.
You probably didn't even need a fucking birthday to fly.
No.
Damn. And you're in high school? So then what the fuck did they do? Where there's
I got brought into a back room, and the guy sat down with me in like a one of those like movie studio place things where it's like a bunch of nice chairs and only two people ever sit in.
Yeah, right. Those ones.
Yeah. And he was just like I was at the long end. It's like that scene with Michael Keaton and Batman where they're like having dinner and they're way over there. So he's like, so. What do you think of the 5th anniversary special we did? I was like, oh, it's cool. And I was like, started talking about it. He's like,
your head's right here at the top of the table.
For sure.
You're too short to sit.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Absolutely. The legs were kicking under the seat for sure.
And this is who are you talking to?
I think it was Jeff Ross, the guy, not the roast comic, but Jeff Ross, the Conan O'Brien guy.
Head writer?
I think he's like the executive producer.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, and it was just really like my whole, it's a bit of a blur, but I just specifically remember him just being at a loss and just being like, so what did you think of our 5th anniversary special? And I was like, it was cool.
That's it?
And then he's just like, so he's like shook my hand, and then as we're walking out, he's like, yeah, so we don't really hire like high school students though. And I was like, for sure. And he's like, so maybe you could just hit us back like when you get to college or something. I was like, okay. And I was like, can I watch the show or something? And he's just like, no.
So they flew you there to just tell you that, to then find out that you were a kid.
Yeah.
Bro, that's the craziest.
I said there was zero due diligence. It was the most surreal. It should have set me up that should have been the expectation of like everything going forward. Because everything's kind of been some variation of that along the way.
Damn.
That's where that was the first thing.
But that's like a real big taste to be around these people. Did you see Conan? Was he there?
No, he was the only one. Andy Richter was trying to send a fax.
Yeah.
And it just wouldn't work. And then he had like 2 people come swarm him, and he's like, I can send a fax.
Right.
And then they just kind of went like,
yeah.
And it was really, it was just surreal
Christ.
just to see all these, and he was just like wearing regular shit, and I was used to seeing him in a suit and stuff. It's just, and obviously he's a regular dude, but when you're 17 and you're in your hero's office, you're just like, there's
that's his fucking sidekick.
Yeah, there's the masturbating bear picture.
Jesus Christ. But is he? It's like, it's funny to think about that shit, that you could write something that's so good, right, to them to fly you there. Think about all the writers that have been following proper channels to try to get that job, and you just sent it.
It was bizarre.
And then like, it's that whole, it's kind of an interesting topic. It's like, well, if you don't have a college degree, you can't work here. But I'm a fucking genius in this fucking specific lane. You know what I mean? Which is so funny but it's like, all right, yeah. I mean, what can you do? It's probably legal issues with like doing that. But they'll also let kids be child actors. Somehow find a way to let them be geniuses or whatever.
Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy.
And then we looked at apartments. It was like $22.50 for something like the size of this table. And I was just like, what am I going to do? Like, I didn't want. I don't know.
What do you mean? You thought you were going to move to New York?
Of course. Yeah, I was gonna be I was in the penthouse. I was picking out everything.
Oh,
shit. It was go time.
Right. So
dreams were done.
You're talking about this is before you got you got there and realized.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're looking at it. Yeah. I was like, so how?
Who was it? You and your dad?
Me and my mom.
Your mom?
And my mom is like, she's the most kind. I always describe her like the mom in Pleasantville.
Yeah.
But like none of the ones that wanted to become color, just like the one that wants to bring the stack of pancakes and that's it. So it's just like New York was an intense Band-Aid off. Yeah.
Shit.
So, and I was just like, she was like looking at stuff, and I'm like, don't fucking look at stuff. We live here. Like, don't look up. Something I saw one time said tourists never look up, and like New Yorkers know. So the whole time I was like, don't fucking, like I'm 17, just like furious with my mom.
Don't look up, Mom. I read it on a fucking sticker.
They probably had no money and like paid for this hotel and all this shit to get me there. And I'm just like, my fucking idiot mom is like looking at buildings and shit, man. Fuck.
I need to look like I belong here for Andy.
Yeah.
And Conan might come around. That's crazy, though. That really is like the most strange shit ever. I mean, and also I'm sure everyone around you, he's getting flown out for Conan.
I know. I'm an only child, and I just live in editing booths. Like I don't talk to, like, even on social media, like I'll post big stuff, but I'm not really like, this is my third podcast. I'm not really I like to say stuff when I've cut it and stuff a little bit.
I hear that.
Yeah.
So you go back. It doesn't work, obviously. You go back home.
Yeah.
And then what? Like, slowly rolls into something else?
I've ran Paul Thomas Anderson's website my whole life, is like official website. Director of like Magnolia and Boogie Nights.
Okay,
and,
right.
All those.
You've ran his website?
Yeah.
Tight.
So he said a quote very early on in my life that I didn't realize was like something you say after you've made it.
Right.
But he was like, if you write a script, you can con anyone to make it. If the script's good enough, because there's so many crappy scripts, any writer with a script is like got the greatest currency in Hollywood. I was like, oh, I'm just gonna write a script.
Right.
And so I wrote a script like every asshole, and then spent 4 years trying to get it made while working at like a factory that made like instructional videos for machines that make cardboard boxes 30 a second for like, you know, Smarties or Smarties is Canadian.
No, Smarties, the candy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have them? You don't
I
have
think
them
we have them
here?
at the movie theater. I think Smarties
Oh,
are
all
a
right.
thing. Yeah.
All right.
I
I thought
fuck
out
with
of all
Smarties.
the candy, there's 10,000 candies
Yeah,
that
we
say
got that
Smarties
shit.
and caramel. I could have said too. For all right.
But it made you were creating the videos for the to
just for a box, yeah, like doing like you know, like the T615 video has the new pin and dome system, so we need a video to show all the guys about this
Damn.
pin and dome system. It's
Right.
the shit. And
Right.
like I needed to make it the shit. So I was doing like little animations and like proper rotoscoping and like
Wow.
making pretty intricate documentaries for these like old 70-year-old inventors that like couldn't open their GeoCities account or whatever.
Damn GeoCities.
Yeah, GeoCities. Yeah.
Throwback.
Yeah.
Shit. So you're doing that while trying to sell your film or your script, and did anything?
I was just trying to self-produce it. I was trying to get just like, you know, going up to like people that own restaurants and like, I need $100,000 for this. This is going to win an Oscar.
Right.
I'm this guy with a script.
Conan flew me
Yeah,
to
Conan,
New
don't
York.
you know? Yeah. And that was just sort of like this 4-year film school of like going through all these companies and going through proper channels and realizing that that's a way to do it, but that's definitely not the fastest, and I'm very impatient. So I just sort of got to a point where I invented a sort of like that trade a paperclip for a pencil for a pen, all the way up to a car, but like the movie version.
Right.
So instead of going to film school or doing anything like that, I made a feature for $9,000 that I knew that I could get released through a company that I was working with at the time, which I could then leverage
box makers.
into which I could then leverage into like the next movie, and it was and sort of like, you know, build your way up to, you know, larger and larger projects. as we go.
So you raised the capital for the 9K
I think that
job?
was my life savings at the time.
Holy shit.
Yeah. There's a gap of time in between there, but that's ultimately where we ended up. So I had $9,000 of inheritance and just like rap money,
Right.
which isn't anything. And I just put it all into a film and got it made, and we played it at Cannes and won a couple of awards, and that's what I tell the people all the time.
You played it at Cannes?
Yeah,
Oh,
not in competition, but it was
Just it played.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I just tell people all the time that if you find everything that everyone around you has that's cool that you can get for free and write a script about it. If you got a guy with a cool restaurant that looks like Scarface, you got a movie about a restaurant, figure it out.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, and there's stars, but I mean, at the end of the day, if your movie's cool and you got a little bit of buzz, you and me can star in it, and you're gonna be okay.
Right.
And even if your first movie is kind of rough, that's awesome, because you want to show a massive amount of progression from your second one.
Right.
So even if it's a little bit sketchy and the story's a little bit crazy or you don't quite pull it off all the way, that's kind of awesome. Because in your next one, you show such dramatic growth. And Tarantino says all the time, your first film gets you your second film gets you your career. So I just sort of came up with this thing of making the small feature and getting it released, and then using that to sort of leverage other investors or other people to kind of like, not trick them, but just like, I got this movie out, we won a couple of awards, here's the next one. And get them before anything, you know, you book your next job before you lose, you know what I mean?
What was the first film about?
It was about, it's called BB. It's about a webcam girl.
Oh, right.
Which, when we made it, it took 4 years to get out, which is another nightmare.
4 years after it was finished?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. It's a long story.
This is pre-YouTube.
What?
This is before YouTube? Like
This is
before YouTube was like
2000
something you would share something like that on?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it's about a webcam girl who that I saw in high school. The Bjork. I was a big fan of Bjork, and
Love
there was
Bjork.
this guy. I don't know if you know him. Ricardo Lopez, I think is his name. Shout out to Ricardo Lopez.
Okay.
He made 18 hours worth of VHS tapes in his basement, making an acid bomb to mail to Bjork.
Whoa.
Yeah. And it's the like it was like back in high school, there was like rotten.com and all these stupid ass sites where they showed you horrible things and you were like watching them because
you need to.
You're weird. Yeah. So I watched these 18 things. Yeah, of course. So I said I watched 18 hours of this guy just like, and like 1 hour is him just kind of like looking like this, but it's fascinating because every little twitch becomes like. And there's like YouTube. There's like they're all up on YouTube still, and someone made like an hour and a half, mashup of it, but it's not as good. They just take like the most crazy things, and that's not. You need to earn the crazy. Anyways, that just always stuck with me, and so then you have 1,000 different ideas that don't line up to a screenplay, and then something happens, and 5 of them come together, and you got 90 pages right away. So I was just trying to think of what would be marketable. And what I could do in a room,
right,
for $9,000, and I was just like, a webcam. And at the time, no one had done anything with webcam stuff, and I don't know if it was new or what. I wasn't a webcam guy.
What year was it?
2014. No, I wrote it in 13. So, but I mean, whatever.
I feel like the tech was just starting to become.
Yeah. A lot of people didn't know about it when I was telling them the thing, and I'm like, all I know is that they strip for free to a whole bunch of people. They don't know who it is.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not even a strip club where you're like in a private little thing. It's just like, you're out there. And it's for everybody.
Right.
And you don't know who's talking to you. And I was just like, oh, the Bjork guy. Oh, webcam. Oh, a little bit of nudity.
Damn.
That for $9,000, I can shoot that in a room and get away with it.
Right.
And that became that. So that's kind of the thing. It's just like, you find some, like I only had an apartment. So it's like, I find some angle to do something mainstream that's a little bit sideways. And put your spin on it, and hopefully, it catches on.
So 4 years later, it comes out.
Yeah, I mean, it was edited. One of the cast members was an extreme problem through the entire thing.
Oh shit!
And eventually, just refused to sign any paperwork, and it held up things forever. And I started getting anxiety attacks. Because it was like my life savings, and it's like 3 years after. So then and then you're in hip hop world, so you're like working all day while trying to edit the movie at night. So you're doing
so the currency shit was happening.
I was doing this at like after 12 at night. It was like 12 to 4 in the morning was like my
film time.
My mistress, and it was like
shit.
And you're like, people when you're working for a record label, they don't probably necessarily would prefer if you were just doing that.
Right.
But I mean,
fuck them.
I need it. I left, I had a dream.
Yeah.
I had a dream. So it was a nightmare to get it done, and it's still a nightmare. And actually the company that ended up putting it out sort of ended up screwing me on it, and I've just had to buy it back for 3 times the amount.
What?
Because they just basically buried it.
So your process was create the film.
Yeah.
Finally get this person to sign off.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yes.
Then sell it to a distributor?
Yeah, I had a sales agent that I was doing all their marketing for at the time.
Okay.
And I mean, doesn't matter to say their name.
Right.
It's all over the movie.
Right.
And various things happened, and it just sort of didn't really come to fruition, and it kind of got sold to another company that put this really generic, scratchy, crappy cover on it, and it looked like everything else.
Right.
And it looked like crap. It looked like a $9,000 movie.
Damn.
And if you saw the thumbnail, you would never click on it in a million years.
Fuck.
And like the soundtrack has Wiz and Lil Wayne and Be Real and Currency, and like it's got a huge, like a blockbuster Suicide Squad soundtrack. So like any person that has any amount of marketing should be able to like finagle that bagel.
Right, no shit. And you were getting all that approved through just the relationships you were building with on the road. Mm-hmm. That's so sick.
Yeah. Now that we bought it back, I want the main girl has a pink wig through the whole movie. I want to get a cotton candy vinyl.
Ooh,
all that. Yeah.
That'd be hard.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but it goes back to what you were talking about. Like, you have an idea. Like, obviously, a lot of people like to go big with it. Like, I want to write this. I want to make a film or whatever, and they go with all these locations, all these things happening. It's way over a budget that they could imagine. But you are thinking, I have $9K. What can I do with $9K?
Right.
And create this film. But also, it's cool to know that you use your resources within your job that you're probably not getting paid a ton to do for currency.
No.
But you do have relationships, and those relationships can provide you music that would have cost you thousands.
I mean, Wiz had just done the See You Again, I think, or whatever. So it's just like, so
it's the best time.
Right. And so like even the emails I sent out to like press, it was like indie film with soundtrack Wiz. It said nothing about the movie. It was like, check it, like just look at the sparkles.
Right. All the sparkles.
Yeah.
But so you had to buy that shit back from the.
Yeah. So now I'm in the process right now. I just got back the US rights, which costs a decent amount from the company that put. And they're all wonderful people, but at the end of the day, it's business. So it's like this was royally botched.
Right.
And I don't assume I'm going to make the money back right away, but it's just like the contract was looped till 2029 or something like that.
Damn.
So like we have Perfect Bid and all these other things starting to come out now that are bigger projects. So it's just like the project still has a bit of merit to it. So it's like a long play. Like I just want to have it back. Everybody wants their masters back.
Right.
I want my child back.
Fuck, dude.
Yeah, so now we got a little bit of a road ahead to try to get a little bit of. We're going to do a bit of a push now with that to see if we can get a little bit more leverage on it. But,
right.
It's still. I said it's an interesting thing, but it's just.
Can people watch it right now?
I think it's on iTunes.
On iTunes.
Yeah. Until we send them the check, it's still up everywhere with the art that I don't like.
Yeah. So when you were talking about the film that you were about to start before you started Currency, what was that? Because you have to call 45 people. Like, what was your role in this indie film?
That's another long. You're good at finding the long stories. At the time, I was dating someone that was getting into being director, and we made a movie together that I did a substantial amount of work on. It sort of they were the directors on it, and it sort of took off.
Ghost directed.
Hey, I'm just here doing an interview.
That's all. Whatever is said is.
Yep. So then there was the next project. Things weren't necessarily going that well with us anyway.
Right.
And then there was this next project that was kind of just going to be kind of like our farewell anyway, I think. And then the tour thing called, and things weren't going good anyway. And so it just sort of became, I think I'm going to go on this tour. It's like if you go on that tour, that's
the end of
you're a terrible thing. And I was like, it's such a long story.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, so the movie was able to be pushed back because the company that I'm talking about was also financing that, so they kept dragging their feet with shit. And then just while I was on the road, things happened, and I was just like, I'm not going to work on this anymore because I knew what I brought to the project, and I knew that if I was not with it, it might not do as well.
Right.
Which sounds extremely sinister. With no context whatsoever, but there was just a decision, and there was a lot of stuff going on that was negative, and
I've been there.
I was digging myself into I was doing a lot of work just for no reason.
Nuts.
Yeah, that had nothing to do with.
Sometimes I think it's very important. I've been there before as well, and at a certain point you have to decide like what matters the most to you, and some people may not understand the bigger picture, and if they're not willing to go the extra mile to make it right, then that's on them. It
was just a lot of static the other way, and I was just like, I've sacrificed my entire career for 4 years to do this thing over here,
right?
And like, why can't this happen for and then it's just, and then this. But this is what I'm going to. This is the part that I'm going to get in trouble for. But that's cool. It needs to be said.
Right. So, but at this point, all right. So you have.
So that was the thing. It was like the movie was like 15 days away from shooting, and I was meant to do like the editing, color correction, everything. So it was just like, this is the Truman Show saying it's time to good night, good morning, and whatever. Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So by the time Currency starts, right, you had done your $9,000 self-funded project. That comes out later.
Yes.
But you had already done it before Currency.
No, Currency was 2011. BB was 2014.
Shooting BB was in 2000?
Yeah.
Okay, word.
Yeah. So in January 2014, I got away for a week.
No, I get it. So you bounce around, and you had done that. Was there any other projects that you did in between that time, within that frame of time? Because you had the film that you worked on originally, right? They did one.
Yeah.
Which was, how big was the budget on that? Was it a large budget, or was it around your 9K budget, like where you guys are kind of hustling? And
the first one I was talking about that didn't get made?
It didn't end up getting made.
No, which one did you say? I'm sorry. I was thinking of the answer, and then you...
No. So you said with the person you were dating, you guys created something.
That was going to be like $500,000. See, there's this whole thing. See, the method that I'm talking about making the small film. The first film we made was $2,500.
Okay.
And it was called Dead Hooker in a Trunk.
Tight.
And so it was based on the El Mariachi, Rebel Without a Crew. So it was just like a bunch of people going to make this shock torture porn.
Right.
So anyways, it was that I was putting that strategy that I was gotta do for myself. I was like, these are the people I'm with at the moment. So this is what we do. We're 100%. So that movie happened, and I was like, all right. So now it's a little rough around the edges. So now we make the polished, bigger budget thing with, a B-list star and a couple bigger names, and you make that movie, and then that movie's good enough, and you get your career.
Right.
And they have a career, and now I've made the BB and the movie, The Fiddling Horse. We just, that's why I look like Howard Hughes. I've been in a room for 4 months editing.
Because when did you shoot that?
That was January of this year.
Okay, right.
Yeah, so I've been editing for 6 months, but there was like a bunch of, there's like 2009 tour, they needed 3 videos done, so like all of February I was doing that stuff, and it just takes forever when you're doing a bunch of stuff.
Right. It's
all
hard
at the
to
same
balance.
time. Yeah.
There's so much shit that it's like there's so much cross action happening or whatever, but I think it's funny. It's interesting how it all plays a part in the overall picture,
Absolutely.
Even your work with Currency is going to affect the way you create your films and tell your stories, right?
Absolutely.
Like, I'm interested to know, like, let's dive into Currency first for a little bit, because you get this, right? It happens. You take off. You say, fuck that other film. You're done, and you go do this shit.
Yes.
Which sounds like it was a good move for you.
It was, very much.
But at the time, was the film promising you, like, if we talk financial, was the film going to provide you a check? Because you said by the time you come to Currency, you're broke, right?
Right.
So was the film promising you money?
I was going to in the same way I make films now, I defer all my salaries off top, so I can make like 7-figure movies for like basically the price of the cast.
Right.
So I was basically doing that. Otherwise the movie would have been like $3 million and no one would have touched it.
Right.
So that, when you're pressed to your back against the wall of an ultimatum for no reason, it's just like, all right, well, no then.
Right.
And then it was like, but you can, this is our movie. We can still make it. I was like, what?
No.
No. Why would I do that?
Right.
That makes no sense.
So you bank on the back end. Like for sure.
Right. But the stuff I'm doing now, for sure. Back then, it was a nightmare.
Right. I was just trying to think.
But there was no, I saw not a cent from any of that.
Okay, shit.
Any of that.
Because I was going to say, is that a worry for you to leave that potentially safe opportunity to explore that film, maybe if it guaranteed any sort of revenue, where you come to do this Currency shit and you don't know what's going to happen?
Yeah.
But
basically making that movie just would have further encouraged a toxic situation.
Right.
So it had to not happen.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
my only benefit in that was to like do a year's worth of work for and be tortured for it.
Right. Potentially learn some shit, but is it worth it?
And I'm not. That's not even really my genre. Those two movies.
Yeah.
It was like a thing where it's like, why? I can do this stuff, so I'm just going to do it.
So what happens with Currency shit? Do you come into it with them having a plan for you, or is it just kind of like keep doing that stuff?
Yeah, it was just we would like a tour video every day, and then when we got back,
fuck, it was every day.
It was every day, and at the time I was like super P.T. Anderson guy, and Kubrick, like, I can't be rushed to make this 1.5 minute tour vlog. Are you kidding me?
Right.
This is going to be on the internet forever. People are going to look at this thing forever and judge me. No, they're not.
Yeah.
It's going to go away like all the other ones. If you don't, like, they have like a 5-day window and then no one watches it. It's so frustrating.
That's so true.
Because like a lot of those jet flicks and like a couple of those documentary things are like have stuff in it that I'm more proud of than my features or anything I've ever done. And they're so buried that like unless I made some weird sizzle reel of out of context things, which is weird anyway, I guess, they're just going to...
It's crazy, right?
Gone.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Like I said, I got into this to like that I study careers more than like movies. Mm-hmm. So like just that your oeuvre, your thing, like everything you do is like I don't know. I just always, everything is your little painting on the wall. So it's just like anything that sort of went off half-assed or like I was rushed to do it, like really bummed me out.
Yeah.
So to get into hip hop and realize that you're like got the biggest audience you've ever had, and then you're just like scrambling and cutting out it. Yeah, and it's like got shaky bits, and it's like you didn't get to color correct it fully, and it just looks grainy, and like no one gives a shit at all.
No. They just want to see
whatsoever.
currency.
They just want to see. Yeah, but it's like, you know, like I said, you think you're there, Scorsese doing The Last Waltz, like you're like making. Mm-hmm. And what sucks is I made a documentary. I filmed the whole thing, and unapologetically, I will say it's the greatest thing I ever shot. Because Spitta had the broken leg, so like he brought a couch on tour, and he just put it on stage, and would just sit there and like bouncing like this, and then Smoke Dizza would pick him up on his shoulders and like Weekend at Bernie's him kind of.
Yeah, that's funny as fuck.
And so I worked on this for a year in the background from 2011 to 2013, and I refused to show Musa because I was like my tortured artist bullshit. Yeah. I just about got it done, and someone robbed Musa's house where I was living.
No.
Why did he take all my hard drives? What would be the point of that? There's no reason to take hard drives. It's a rapper's house. There's so many things to take. And the dude ripped apart the entire house and took everything.
Oh, shit.
And so everything I'd ever done in my life was on all these hard drives. And people are like, why didn't you back them up? He took the backups.
Damn. Leave your backup in another place, people.
Right.
Fuck.
So that never saw the light of day, and it was a bit of what are you working on? I'm working on a documentary. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, bro.
Right.
And then it got stolen, and nobody ever saw it. But it was called This Is a Life, and it was just it just showed Spit on the bus, and just I was sitting next to him in the back the entire time, and if you hit a bump, his leg was so screwed up, he just had a meltdown. Just everyone on the bus had their own drama going at the time. Wow. And it was like Magnolia, but for hip hop, it just had this multiple character drama where everybody had their own shit going on, but they were all working to look after Spit at the same time. It was this family, I don't know. It was just really touching shit. And in hip hop world, it was
hard to come by.
Yeah, and it just, I don't know. I was so proud of it, and I worked on it for so long. And
now some fucking guys
and then
just got it.
And then it's in it's in an alligator's ass somewhere right now in a man-made canal in New Orleans.
Dude, that is fucking insane.
With scripts that I thought you make these little note things with one-liners that are going to win you Oscars one day. You think everything.
Shit.
Everything's gone. There's a documentary called Please Subscribe about YouTubers that was on there that I was just about finished. It's just
fuck.
Yeah, so that happened.
Why was all the shit at his house? Just because that's where you guys
just living. I lived with Musa. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. He's got a dorm room. His house is he had
everyone.
The DJ was there at the time, and I was there.
Yeah.
And the studio's in the back, and so it just became. It was just. That's the thing when you work in hip hop. It's hey, we're going on tour for this many days. It's everybody knows.
Everybody knows.
You're gone.
They see the flyers, all that
day
shit.
Day two, it was Veterans Day or something. Day 2, we were gone. It was the whole house was emptied out. Damn. Yeah, it was tight.
Fuck. Dude, 100%. That is the worst fear of losing, and you lost multiple.
Yeah.
Fuck. So then what do you do? How do you move past that? You're just starting from scratch. Is that it? It's just fuck it.
And then that was
the fuck is that my computer? My bad.
That's okay. I thought it was right when I put the mug down. I was
yeah, these cups come with sound effects. Shop BWNC.com.
These are tight.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. We were going to do mugs for the Fiddling Horse that said hung like Einstein, smart like a horse, which isn't that funny, but just
it's very funny.
I wanted to have a mug for the movie.
Yeah, it'd be hard. You should do it.
So we looked these up, and it's just I appreciate them.
Thank you very much.
So yeah, that happened with the hard drive and all that shit, and then it was I'm all right, I got to do BB. That's gonna go good.
Yeah, and then that shit struggle bus too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So, fuck, man. So then,
I'm not trying to boohoo on here, but I'm trying to just let people know that if you kind of want to do this shit, there's so many things that you don't even, all the things you don't know will drive you into the ground 10,000 times, and you have to be so crazy to want to just keep getting back up because you have to get up 10,000.
Of course.
Even the movie we just did, there's so many things that just can't, our financier right at the 0 hour had a child and pulled all his money out. So then all these Hollywood-y kind of guys were what the fuck? And then all of a sudden you're scrambling to try to find a large chunk of money and then actors are dropping off. It's crazy. There's so many articles of Danica McKellar in The Fiddling Horse and all these shit.
Damn.
It was ripple effects of. So there's just and that's just one. There was just thousands of things. I'm just saying. I'm not trying to woe is me, but just anytime I watch these things before I was on these things, I always just anytime someone kind of let me into that world, it kind of
strengthens
got
you.
me going. Yeah, because like there was like nothing bad going on. I like pulling my hair out. I'm like, oh, yeah. So, yeah.
But that's kind of our goal on this podcast is like that. You know, we took the long road to get to where we are. You know what I mean? And
Definitely.
I feel like it's very important by sharing this shit. It's like that is one lesson of yes, have backups, maybe triples, but also have a drive. You know, like if you do a job and you fly. Right? Like we'd always split up the drives or make sure a drive, if we had the option to not fly with both drives, just in case one motherfucker died in that plane or some shit, some crazy shit. Like it's like the parent thing. I think parents, like if they have kids, like they don't, like they try not to fly together in case like one dies in a plane. You know what I mean? It's just, but drives are the same fucking way. Like it's very, and I think it's touchy because a lot of people that get into like low budget situations, they don't want to invest into like duplicates or you know what I mean, and also like safes and random shit like that. It's like
we have a safe now.
Yeah, I
we
bet you
absolutely
fucking
have
do.
a safe, and the only thing in it, hard drives.
Yep, I believe it.
And not a piece of jewelry that she had. Nothing. There's not a single thing in it.
Yeah, that shit's crazy because you can't put a price on you know, insurance policies on fucking some satire like you know what I mean, like you can't do it. It's just no one cares a fuck what's on that drive. You can never tell like an insurance company this was going to be worth millions of dollars. You know what I mean? Whew, I hate that shit. This gives me anxiety.
I have.
I believe it. Fuck.
The anxiety sweats from that story.
So moving past that, it happens, and then is Currency pissed? Are they pissed like that this media is missing like part of his life? Is it how does the team bounce
they're
back?
awesome.
Everyone,
they're awesome that way. If something happens, it's like for sure.
Yeah, like
And
accidents.
they might say something behind like CJ this stupid ass. But it's like they're the best people to work for sure.
Right. Damn. When did the president thing come?
He did that pretty quick.
Really?
I was surprised.
And you're the only person create because it's a label, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's 2 or 3 other people that do videos just because, like, I mean, I got tied up on the feature, and then it's like, when you're editing, you think it's like, all right, I got one more week, so I'm just gonna hide from everybody for a week, and then all of a sudden it's been 3 weeks, like holy shit, and then it's been a month, and then everyone's like not answering your texts, and you realize no one's texting you, and I'm terrible with my phone anyways.
You're right.
Yeah, verified.
Shout out
to my phone.
Yep.
So yeah, no, I mean, they would have liked, because I could talk so much shit about it, they probably definitely would have liked to seen it, because I was like, this is going to be bigger than the Dre documentary. Like we're gonna sell some units with this thing, I promise you. Man, because I had like the formula with the other movies. Like I've done this. Trust me. Like this is my world. Like we're gonna do this.
Right.
And it got done all right.
So what's the next project you do within that? Is it just continuing the vlogs?
Yeah, it's just basically I would be doing whatever, and somebody would wander into the room and say, "Hey, I want to do this." And like, okay, right, that's what we're doing now. And it's just like,
but you started doing music videos too, right?
Yeah. We did music videos. It's just basically I did everything, because it's just like anytime Musa or them would want to do something, you know, someone would come in and get a $10,000 advance to do animation. And then they'd spend 4 or 5 months, and they'd send like one sketch. I'm like, give me $2,000 and I will draw you a Disney cartoon. Right. Like, just let me do it. And so everything became just let me do it. And then before, you know, when you first get around, you're like, let me do it. And then all of a sudden,
I need you to all of it.
Like, you know, aside from like taking the money and doing the tour booking and like the shit Musa was doing, I was like doing everything, like the merch and the album covers and all that stuff. So I was the Swiss Army knife guy.
The stats of that whole thing is like you said you did. Let me see. I like reading this on the site. It was like an obnoxious amount of album artworks, 50 music videos, 75 album covers, 12 hours of lifestyle documentaries in 5 years.
That's an annoying sentence. I regret writing that.
Oh, I love it because I'm reading it. I'm like, God damn.
Yeah, and it's at 100 at this point, because that's why I said that site's like a year and a half out. So like we've done out. I heard the Canada there. Holy shit!
You caught yourself.
Wow. It's the last year or so. A decent amount got done. But
so in the music videos, are you directing them and literally is it like a one-man band scenario?
For sure. Okay. And it's that's the thing with Currency that a lot of people don't realize. Like a lot of people kind of talk shit online in the first little bit when I started doing them. Because I think a lot of people in hip hop think that you get $200,000 like we're like in the 90s or something, like everyone's shooting on 35 millimeter and cutting up. Like I think I've had $10,000 twice. Right. And I've done 100 videos, and I think I've had $0 98 times.
God damn.
Yeah. And it's just like, but it's just like, it's spitter, just like, one of my favorite videos is AD4, it's called. It's just like we're in Reno, and Spitta was literally sitting there smoking, and he was staring at a fan. There was just this fan going. He's like, bro, I've been staring at this fan, and I want to do a video. I was like, for sure. And he's like, the video is going to start with me looking at the fan. I didn't have any lights, like we were about to go do a show.
Yeah,
like I don't.
The video's going to start with me.
If you watch 84,
shit.
He's sitting there lighting a joint. I'm playing pool for whatever. I just put my own. I was like, I'm going to do my Scorsese cameo. There's like a pool table, so I'm not going to do Color of Money.
Right.
So it's just like, yeah.
God damn.
And then it's like we went into this big casino ripoff with like Sharon Stone going out, but it doesn't matter.
Right.
But all the videos with him for the most part are just like, you know, I'm leaning against this wall. This is the video, and it's like for sure. And that's awesome because that's all people want to see. But again, when you're coming from, I was coming from like very structured music videos before. Like there's a Sarah Slean video I did that's like 4 minutes, and she got like second by second cut, and like this person's gonna move here.
Right.
Like that's the background I came from. So to move into hip hop where it's like we
Very
shot it at 1 a.m, it's out at 7 a.m, and we're shooting against the wall. I don't care if you got a light and you don't got the right lens and it's all noisy and it looks like crap. This is what it is, and it's like.
Okay.
So then you start carrying around all the gear, and then you don't shoot a video forever. Like, I'm not bringing this shit. And then and it's like, man, we're shooting a video. I'm like, for sure.
Oh God, yeah. That backpack's fucking hustle life, man. That shit.
And I no disrespect to anybody, but this is a perfect platform to say this. I think.
Say it.
And if you've done it, I apologize.
I may have.
Please take your backpacks off when you're a hip hop cameraman on set, on the
set?
stage.
Oh yeah,
on stage.
Nah, drop
People
that
come
shit
up,
off.
Oh. It drives
They
me
carry the
crazy,
bag.
and they're up there like rapping the lyrics.
Yo.
Not one person came to see you, not one. And like people kind of know us a little bit, and
Yeah.
like a couple of people, nobody wants to see you.
No
one wants to see you be the hype man. The artist doesn't want you there, and you look like you just got off a bus.
My favorite is the people that are wearing full on like sports jerseys. Like you should, show black. That's what that's kind of like the rule. You don't want to be seen. We want to see the artist, not your fucking ugly ass. All right, noted. But then people come up in full like fucking, I don't know, the Cowboys jersey or some shit, and it's
Or
just
bright yellow Pirates jerseys.
It's like this. You got the chain on. I see you. Wear a dope flat build hat, and you're up there, and you have a fucking Ronin and your cell phone out at the same time, getting your Snapchat, which no one's using anymore, and you're still filming the cinematic recap. And it's just like. It's usually always like the artist that is like the featured artist that comes out, and they bring their homie that needs to shoot the shit too, and then they just like walking out. I also hate going to shows. I get it. Sometimes the energy's fun when there's like 20 people on stage too, but also fuck that shit.
Absolutely,
that's the worst.
There was 100. There was how many people was there last? There was like 100 people at the last show, and there was like 5 photographers. And they're stepping, like, I will never step in front of your shot. I don't care if I can tell it's your first day.
Yeah.
I'll, like, duck under your camera, and I can tell you're not filming, your shit's out of focus.
Yeah.
And then people just come and they put your elbow in front of your shit, or, like, they know you, so they come and get your exact angle and start, and just like, oh, my God.
Right.
And it's just, I don't know. It's just that drives me crazy. It's just, like, when you're, and don't, like, you go right up to the artist and start flashing your camera and shit. Like, my whole life, I have got shitty pictures on stage because I refuse to flash. It's their
Unless
show.
you like coordinate that, bro. Like that's
Right.
it. Just coordinate. Yeah, that's why they don't have flashes in the pit for the first 3 songs. That's why you only get 3 songs because people get sweaty. And it's like if you start to highlight some ugliness, no one wants that shit on the internet. You know what I mean? Like
absolutely. And it's funny you said the thing about the black shirt because at the Rock the Bells, the first thing I did, I wore the full on black like I'm working at a theater in high school. And Musa said that. He's like, I was like ducking around like I was a cat burglar and shit. Like trying to like really let them know that I'm like, I know all the etiquette.
Yeah.
Even if I like.
I know all the etiquette.
But then like after like 2 years, Spitta's like, bro, you look like you just got out of jail, bro. So then it's like, I was like, oh yeah, I'm representing the brand. So like to your point. Yeah, don't go up there. But it's like everyone in Jet Life is up there with that. So like when I was up there like the cat burglar, I just... It just kind of looked at, but you're absolutely right. It's
but on those, it becomes acceptable, especially when you're kind of like part of his like entire team.
Right.
Like you know what I mean? Like
Definitely.
the DJ is the homie. This is the homie. You start to learn through those people. Through the fans like want to see you, but yeah, wear tour merch, some shit like that. But whatever. But the bright shit. Like I made some. There was a video that we have. I don't know, Dave. Did you take it? But it was like this fucking funny ass video. Oh no, it was like a fan video. Because we had on Beyonce's tour, it was 2 Megatron things, right? B and J, And
your footage is crazy with that.
It was so fun, but I got really ballsy and just like wanted to be. I would make passes on stage to try to get the cinematic like look behind them. Walk, her and Jay holding hands walking out. And there was one day where I fucking forgot my show blacks at the hotel. So all I had on was like these short ass like shorts, basketball shorts or whatever, and then like a bright ass t-shirt. And I'm pale as fuck. So like
we're
you know what I mean? We out here.
Yeah.
We out here. Edit life.
We have all the cream is here.
Yeah. But I like come out behind them because they like start the show by walking out holding hands, and I like came out behind them and just wanted to get a really cool shot going up to the hands holding.
Sure. The symmetrical thing. I already see it. Yeah,
but in the Megatrons, from the fans' perspective, it's just my thighs and my fucking white right behind B and J. It's like the fucking funniest shit. I'm like, yeah, that is why.
There's
show
two
blacks.
white pillars behind them.
Yeah, it just helps a little bit hiding me. You know what I mean? Like, but the shot was tight, so that's all that matters. You know what I mean? But still,
I can't imagine shoot. Like, I mean, we've shot a couple of times with Wiz, who does the stadium. Like Spitta, he likes it. He has no interest in doing the big stuff.
They're hard to do.
Yeah, of course. And they're just like, it's so much better with 2,000 little maniacs that are going crazy.
Yeah, energy's crazier.
Yeah. But just like anytime we do those stadiums, there's so many different shots. So I can't imagine the circus of those two, and just like the lights, and just you have
it's not,
you just got to keep it in focus, and you have the greatest shit of all time. I'm so jealous of everything that I saw you post of that, and like dude like openly grabbing you and bringing you over, like look at all this.
Yeah, Jay.
Yeah, like Spitta does that sometimes, but hip hop people don't want.
Yeah,
like my man Travis Scott. Shout out to Bird's Eye View.
There we go.
He pushes camera photographers off the stage.
He hates it. Yeah. Jay, it was like, with Q's tours, like I'm always on stage. You know what I mean? It's like, you just go wherever the fuck you need to go to get some cool shit. Like no one gives a fuck. But on this, it's like, it's a performance art piece. This whole movie, you're watching the movie in real time, and then photographers, videographers in the background kind of like cock block the whole mission of that shit. But for them, it was more longevity in these shots versus what the crowd gets to experience for that like 3-second mark that I fuck up. You know what I mean? It's okay. But
that was always my thing. I was just like, if I screw something up, I was like, it's the moment you're gonna like when you're on the bus loaded later and you see the shot, you like, bruh,
damn, do that again tomorrow.
It's his favorite thing, because he's got a bunch of rings, is to whap as hard as he can right in the old sternum.
On you?
Yeah. That's how I know I've done well when I have a large heart murmur. That's when I know I've really. That's when I know I've impressed.
I like this shit.
Yeah. No, there's no words. It's just whap, whap, whap.
Oh yeah, the silent. I'm watching and I'm happy.
Yeah. I know. And I know what I'm doing to you too.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah. That's funny as fuck.
But it's just like, oh yeah, he's happy. It's like it worked.
Yeah, it's like it's interesting that you don't like food.
Yeah,
because I feel like part of a struggle that I deal with in this shit, it's like constant, like health, right? Like having to take care of yourself,
right? Especially
on tours where you just outlined pretty much identical to what it's like. 22 hours, you constant show after show after show after show. Especially in the smaller shows, like 2,000 to 10,000 people, you can do those shows back to back to back. Ours had like 3-day breaks on B's tour. Like they had to build a fucking thing,
take down the rigging.
Yeah, it's massive. It's crazy, but back to back to back, it wears the fuck out of you.
After 5 days, you're done.
5 days, that's it. And you realize, like, you get through, you have like a brutal sickness for like 2 or 3 days. You try to just sleep in the bunk.
And those they're like I'm a hypochondriac a little bit.
Oh, you don't like
that's
that?
Part of what keeps me working, is I just want to get as much stuff done before someone checks me out. So it's just like, and then you're like, and you're tired and you're delirious and you're just like, sitting in this fucking thing like this, and just like the roof is this high and like the TV's broken.
Yep.
Boo-hoo.
It's so crazy,
the
man.
TV's broken on the tour, but relatable, right?
But
it's like they're horrible.
Yeah, they're
really terrible.
I never would use it. Yeah. It's just whatever's playing in the front. I know. But on a new bus, when we finished our tour, one of my friends kept touring with Normani, and they had a cool bus, and the bus had like fucking iPads. And I was like, what? And they had Netflix, all this shit, and it was all hooked up to some Wi-Fi that's not you have 1 gig a day scenario.
That's the thing. See, on our bus, I have a little modem thing that has like a limit for uploading only videos.
Oh, smooth.
And everybody instantly knows who has that. Bro, let me get this. We're driving through Albuquerque. Let me get the thing. And then you're like, no, bro.
Yeah.
You can't use the internet password. I'm using it for my videos.
Yeah.
And you're like,
fuck your videos, champion. Let's go. Come on.
Then you went from the kicker to the punter.
Right. Real quick.
Yeah,
Damn.
right fast.
So brutal.
And you can't even get it inside the 10. Anyway.
God, do you hear the anxiety when we talk about this shit, you guys? It isn't all
for sure.
what you think it is. I one of my homies, his nephews, like, was getting into some trouble and shit, got arrested and all this stuff, and he's been trying to teach him like how to grow up quick. But his whole goal is he wants to just be a fucking filmer for a rapper. Like, I just want to smoke weed and fucking shoot rap videos, man. I just want to go on tour.
You know how many of those people I've kicked off the bus?
1 million.
Yeah.
They don't. That's not a job.
It is not.
That's not a fucking job.
Every single person I've been forced to work with on the bus, and it's forced because I just say, I can't, like, what? You know how much stuff is on tour. Imagine some other jackasses just, I shot 4 hours of stuff. Here you go. And it's all this, like...
Yeah.
Or, you know, that sounds assholish, but it's just like when you're in the chaos, like you do not need 4 hours of random stuff to go through.
No.
Like I've been an editor more before directing and doing anything. So like I'm building an edit so that I just go like bink, 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 bink and put these shots in. And maybe there's a little bit of trouble, but like I'm shooting just like 1.5 to 1 ratio. There's no 10, there's nothing.
Yes.
So just... But like you said, it's just that's the thing. People get on the bus and then they go in the back with spitta and smoke 5 joints, and then like they can't handle it because they smoke 1 joint over a day and then they're falling asleep. Mm-hmm. And it's like, all right, you're fired. And then it's like a friend of one of the rappers, so then you're the asshole. Right. And it's like, oh my God.
Yeah, we need fucking content, not a homie. Like we got enough homies. Like,
so it's really this. It's crazy because you're friends with everybody, but you're not. It's kind of like you're not the coach. It's really you're the kicker. Yeah. You can win the game and everyone carries you off the field, or you're like the guy saying you can't use the internet thing because I need to upload the video, and then you're the dorky asshole from Canada on the bus who's like not being the homie.
Fuck.
And there's hip hop has long memories for how often you weren't the homie and how many you were. How many times you were that can go away very quickly.
Yep. I think on Q's tour it was the funniest shit because his like best friend from childhood, who was like this hype man icon, his name's Smack. He was a super crucial character in our little vlog that we had. But this dude I'm Schoolboy Q's hype man. I'm his brother. I'm blah blah blah, and he's just a star. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So already he's a star, and he would not remember my name. Everyone else on the tour figured it out eventually. But he'd just be like, cameraman. And I'm like, at a point, like when he started doing that, I just wouldn't respond to him, and I just kept looking at him. Cameraman, come on, man. Get this thing. And I was like, huh? Who are you talking to? And I started looking around, like, yo, I have a fucking name, bro. No, yeah. Come on, Dylan. He called me the trainer's name. I'm like, oh my God, bro. We've been on a bus for 2.5 weeks together, living together, and you aren't figuring out my name as 3 letters. Like, it's not that hard. And then eventually he did it again one more time, and I grab him and I'm like, hey, check this out. And I show up my phone and I have a notes that's just like tour, and it has everyone's name and kind of a description for the first day I met them. I was like, I have made this doc, so I just said this guy, long hair, this guy.
Wow, I'm terrible. That's a great idea.
I'm very bad at remembering names.
Yes.
So I write these down and I'm like, it says Smack, Q's brother. I'm like, I wrote that shit so I can remember your name. I'm like, so that's how much I went out of my way to remember your name. And he goes, thanks, brother. That means the world to me. And then he turned around. I'm like, nah, you stop calling me fucking cameraman. That's what that means. Like, it just goes over this motherfucker's head. Wow. Until I made a video that made him look iconic, and he started being.
That's the thing. As soon as you put them in the video, then you're
the best friend. But
I love the dap of that story, though.
Yeah,
that hit first.
Thank you, brother, man. Like, that means the world to me.
That happened with Musa. I did that. That was my thing. It kind of became a joke, but I was like, I'm not a cameraman. I'm William.
Yeah.
And it became a thing for a while. And then like Spit would be like, someone would be like, where's the camera? Spit like, that's not the cameraman. That's the director. That's not a Spitta voice, by the way. I don't know why I did that. But it became like this sort of joke. And then Musa, and it's like a thing. It's like, Rolling Stones calling themselves, or whatever, the king of pop, or whatever. They started calling themselves that, and it became like, you're the king of. So I'm like, it's our director, CJ. And it's like, I hate. Cameraman is the guy with the backpack, and he just and who's like rapping the lyrics and pointing at chicks that aren't going to do them. And
please, like, God, that's the beginning stage, and then they grow up and become like a creator of some sort that's more than just a cameraman.
Yeah,
fuck. Anyway,
and like you said, and despite how much you bitch about it, it's like it's such a wonderful experience. Like it. like I stopped nurturing these edits because they turn out just as fast and like whatever as I would have if I nurtured them for 7 days like I used to. Like it was such a good. I said it just changed my DNA being around all these guys because I was way too Canadian to be a director.
Totally.
If someone painted a door wrong, I'd be like, I want that door green. They paint it red, and I'd be like, oh, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And like the whole movie's called The Green Door.
Yeah. You throw down the fucking hammer.
Yeah.
But when you're with rappers, you learn real quick how to handle yourself in certain situations to be able to voice up shit because you see it happen and people just kind of get over it. Like. Nah, hey, you need to. I remember one time Q tried to fucking muscle up on me, but it was like when it was still new, and I literally had been editing nonstop. I was in the bus. I think he was staying at hotels, but I was just like constantly working on an edit. And there was 1 hour where I went out. We had electric scooters, so we went out and drove around Dallas. And I came back, and he had started his meet and greet, which I had filmed 1,000 of them already. Nice. You know what I mean? I filmed it. And didn't need it for what I was creating for the tour anyway. And I come up and I get there and someone set me up like, oh, here comes Ben finally. I'm like, I've been gone for an hour. Like I even got food. Like I needed to eat. And Q's like, hey man, you gotta be focusing more on these videos, man. Otherwise, there's people that can replace you. And I looked at him like, I literally have been editing a video for days. I haven't even seen you, bro. I've been editing and people keep interrupting me and there's no hotel yet. Where's the hotel I was supposed to edit in? What the fuck were we doing? I'm like, what do you mean? And then I think it was just kind of him trying to like check everybody in that week. Like he was trying to check everybody. Like, hey, everyone's replaceable. I'm like, there is no one that's going to come in here and make the same shit that I'm making right now. Like I'm not even scared of what you should say. Like,
see, that's the thing. There have been people that's sort of what I was starting to say before about how you just end up shooting somewhere. Like people think you have $10,000 all the time, and then they get there and find out what hip hop shit is, and it's like, oh. And then they make a video and it's like, it looks like chaos. And they're like, oh man. Yeah. Oh man.
So when you go from creating this, you build the basic like creative department of the whole label, you know what I mean? And you start doing that. When did the Netflix film come to be?
That was actually, I got, I'm obviously Canadian, so coming through the border is sometimes tricky. And on tour, we got busted at 3 a.m. by a bunch of rookie cops. They decided to pull over the tour bus. Swag. And they took us all out on Veterans Day. Another thing on Veterans Day.
Weird.
Anyway, so they found a roach and a grinder and took 18 people in to prison for it. And we stayed there for 24 hours. And me and Spitta were the last people to get out. Everybody else got out. Me and Spitta was sitting in the holding room like,
damn.
Rap.
Damn.
So anyways, I've had this little like thing on my record forever. And it got taken off because like nothing happened. It all got expunged or whatever you say it.
Yeah.
But every time I go through, I have to go into secondary inspection. And they grill me and look at all my body. All sorts of craziness. So I wasn't allowed to come through for like 2 years.
Shit.
So I was just like, I can do album covers and do various things, but it was just like, I don't know what it's like.
But you're in Canada.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
So
damn, really?
Like, yeah. And I was talking to this Ted guy from the documentary since 2009.
How'd you meet him?
Facebook.
And you just heard about him?
Yeah, like for doing features, I'm just sort of always on the lookout for sort of true stories that I can kind of adapt or like take a piece of and run with. And I saw his story and I'm like, oh, that'd be a great movie. Like this super genius that takes down a show. So I started to write the script and talk to him about it. And then I realized like The Price is Right is the thing. Like writing a fake game show that this guy memorizes, who gives a shit? Yeah. It has to be the documentary. So anyways, it was like another one of those crisis moments like, everything's kind of going crappy. The BB I'm broke from that. Everything's going crazy. And I was like, oh, I can fly Ted to Vancouver. I don't have to go down to Ted for any reason. Right. And then 10 days later, he was in Canada. And
wow.
We filmed in 5 hours. Like he knows his story. He talked all 35 tapings top to bottom. He's like 38:52 on this. And then I helped this person. Her name was Susan. Like no scripts, no stop. Hold on. What was it? He just sat there and rattled it.
Dog, you guys need to see this shit. Like I'm telling you this, and I'm talking to my friends that are not on camera. I'm also people on the camera. Fucking, you need to see this shit. That's crazy. He just knew his shit. So was there only one interview setting with him? Hey guys, I want to quickly interrupt this episode to tell you about our How to Charge a Client guide. It is available on shopbwnc.com. This is a 54-page guide on how to charge your clients. If you've ever had a question about how much you technically should value yourself as a creator, we dive into a lot of information having to do with how to charge a client. So definitely take a read. A lot of reviews have come through, and I'm impressed to see that people, since they dove into this guide and started putting it into effect into their day-to-day grind, have increased their rates and got more money out of their clients, which is fucking awesome. So shopbwnc.com. You can also get it when you join us on Patreon at patreon.com/blackwithnocream, joining the goddamn homies tier. So let's get back into this episode. Thanks for listening.
Yeah. Oh, we did. We had 3, but it's just like we did 2 hours here, 2 hours here, 2 hours here, just so it would kind of
change it up a little.
Yeah.
So you get his initial interview. Were you already telling him like, I think we should turn this into a doc?
Yeah, he would. Like I said, we were talking from 2009, and so this was like 8 years at this point. Where I'm just like, all right, give me 2 months. I'm just gonna film this XYZ, and then it's you and me.
Yeah.
He's like, for sure.
Damn.
Yeah. So eventually, I was just like, oh, we were already well past the I'm not making a movie. We're gonna make a doc, and it's just like I'm gonna come as soon as I get through the border, and then it just one day, just like you realize that people can come to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we just filmed that, and I made a little rough cut and started sending it out to festivals, and we got in, and we got Bob Barker and Roger Dobkowitz, the main producer, after the fact. I showed him the rough cut.
Did Bob Barker produce it too?
He doesn't do anything.
He's just an appearance.
Yeah, and
Dude,
Roger,
he's old.
He's old. He didn't want makeup either. He's taken a. But I mean, he's 94.
He's 94.
You people aren't even going to make it to 94.
Damn,
so stop talking shit about Bob Barker
smoking.
about how he looks like you've air-lung bubble vape smoking.
He is 94.
94. He might be 95 now. He was 94 for sure.
When was Happy Gilmore?
That was 93.
Shit.
No, Billy Madison was 93.
Billy Madison.
So like 94, 95. Yeah.
Happy Gilmore's where he punches. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Damn.
So Roger, we got him because he was the producer guy. So we showed him that, and he came on, and then I couldn't get there because I was in Canada. So I sent some people there to film with him, and he just said he called Bob. I was obviously kind of hinting. I'm like, hey, if Bob's not busy, and he does nothing. And just one day, Roger called. He's like, Bob wants to do it. That was a Roger voice.
Damn.
And so I had to send people over there, and he wanted to film outside, and his dogs were everywhere, and there's airplanes, and we had 30 minutes, and if we didn't set up in 10 minutes, my man was going to get up and walk the other way. And then he ended up, like, of course, once he got there and we started talking, he was totally fine.
So you were there for this?
But I was not there. I had to send somebody there.
Damn.
And the sound was crazy. It got distorted crazy, and there was dogs barking. So like, it's the last interview he's done. He's not well at the moment. It's probably like this might be the last thing that he's in, which is like,
that's iconic.
I grew up with that dude, so like it bummed me out that I didn't get to go shoot it. Like that really bummed me out. But
fuck the border.
Like, it means absolutely. Yeah.
That's crazy.
No, I can't say that either.
Yeah, sorry.
You said 2 awesome things for me that I can't say today. No, that's perfect.
My opinion.
Yeah.
Jesus, man, that's fucking insane.
This is good coffee you guys have.
Thanks. Shout out to Dutch Bros for the plug. I feel like, festival, because I want to get into this, and so we also do this I know we're kind of wrapping it up, but like we do a Q&A thing that with our Patreon members, and like they get to ask you questions, and I know one of them specifically was interested in the festival world and kind of had a few questions regarding it, which I feel like is a great time to segue to this, because the way this film garnished like attention was through festivals that you were winning awards from. So could you explain kind of the process of, all right, you created this film, you got all your interviews, you pieced the story together, you finished it. Now, and who invested into this?
It was me again, us.
That was all you?
Mallory,
Holy shit.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't cost. This is the same thing. It cost $2,500. I don't care to tell anybody.
The whole thing cost $2,500?
How much does it cost to bring a guy to a room?
Who did the graphic stuff?
Me. I did the whole thing.
What about licensing?
That's where it became tricky.
Okay.
But that's where it became really, really tricky, because the people that we talk about in Perfect Bid at the end of the movie are the people that control the footage. So for 8 months, like it took 6 months for them to dox me to figure out, I know you're trying to get the questions, I'll speed it up.
No, you're good.
But this was the main thing with it. So we got our premiere. They spent 8 months doxing us, whatever it was, 6 months, because I was like, you have to let me do this before I spend my money on this, because I can't get all the way into this and then you guys say you're not going to license it.
Right.
So they were like, all right, it's all good. Then we get Bob and Roger involved, and then all of a sudden a whole new wing of Price is Right people pop up, and it's, what the hell is this thing? What are we doing?
Right.
Stop. And then I'm submitting cuts and they're telling like, you got 20 minutes of footage you can use. All right, now you got 15 minutes. Now you got 10. Send it back. You can't use it. Now you got 7 minutes and you can't repeat any shots. And then it ended up to be 7 minutes. You can't repeat any shots. And one other thing, doesn't matter.
7 minutes of like them giving you footage
like
you're requesting for.
Yeah. But at the beginning, it was anything you need, and then all of a sudden, the Price is Right producers got involved, and then because I was speaking to Fremantle, who runs American Idol and all the scary shows. Yeah, they're the ones that own the footage, but they're also beholden to Price is Right producers to a certain degree. If they don't approve the thing, then it's shut down. Right. So like we have our premiere, we've been in all these magazines and shit, or like web things, and like we've got distribution off of it and done all this stuff. And then a month out, they started screwing with me and trying to like make me full. So I did 9 full recuts of the film, top to bottom, not like little 5 minutes here. And so then it's like, all right, I did it. Holy shit. Because you think like Bob Barker, the footage is so expensive, and like Bob Barker timed like the actual retail price is. Yeah, and like that pause is like $400. Right. Yeah, and you got to cut it out. It's like that's and then you're cutting all this stuff, and that's why if you watch it again, it's like it kind of like pops up and goes away a lot of the time, or like sound kind of blends into the video. Yeah. It's like, so it was a major nightmare.
So the final cut that I watched,
that's like the 95. That was our compromise. There's stuff missing.
That had only 7 minutes of
But there's like major story arcs gone, because you can imagine like a minute of footage is an entire person's Price is Right. Right. Because there's so many amazing characters that he met that would have just. I mean, there's only like the internet says, there's only so many times you can see him get it right. Right. But I mean, there's like the whole point of it was his interaction. Like the first time you see him, he gets one thing right, and then he's kind of a celebrity, and then he gets on, and then like there's an escalation. We're not just showing that he gets things right all the time. That's not the point. And a lot of people kind of miss that online. They're like, he's just saying the same thing. I'm like, there's a story arc, damn it. Damn. But anyway, so it was like, so like I was editing the movie, driving from Vancouver to Portland to premiere it, and I was like editing it in the backseat of the car, like sweating. I didn't know if I was going to get through the border, because I hadn't been through the border yet. But I used the festival as like look, I'm a benefit to the States, because I'm showing a Price is Right thing. Right. And it worked. But I was like, I didn't have permission, and I was like, I was like sweating and editing in the back, and we showed it, and they just started charging us per screening. Like, all right, it's $1,200 if you want to show it. Like,
so you had to pay $1,200 every time you screened it.
Yeah, and then eventually they relented, but it's just that. It's crazy. People just come out of the woodwork with documentaries. It's like, you put up a screenshot of a website and like kind of blur this and that, and like the pop-up ad people come out of nowhere and like want $1,000 and all this shit. Right. So anyways, I'm sorry, that was a long
but I think it's important to know that it's crazy to know that it was $2,500 to total. Yeah. Which was what,
and I'm not allowed to say how much the amount was, but like it's like 3 figures per second for Price is Right stuff. Right. It doesn't matter if it's low or high. But it's just per second. $3 amounts per second adds up very quickly.
We had to, like, when we did Chris Brown's documentary, we had to trim around. There was like a Michael Jackson tribute that I think it was the MTV Music Video Awards, and or maybe Grammys, maybe, I don't know what it was, but to license that shit was an insane amount of money per second, and it was like, what can we show? You know what I mean? Like,
there's a new thing we just found that's a lawyer that I can tell you about later. It doesn't necessarily need to go out, but there's a system now with fair use with a certain lawyer system that there's ways to finagle licensing costs.
It's almost like amazing. It's like an insurance policy, right? Is this the same thing?
It's basically it's like if someone says something. Like if Ted was like, and I helped Susan bid $15.99, these lawyers will let me show X amount of the footage because he specifically references, so it's fair use. So then I could have saved so much money. But these are lessons you learn as you go. Right. But like I have so many documentaries that are in the works at the moment that are like.
That helps a lot.
That's like it's like if you pay them a very small amount of money and they protect your ass, and like. We're doing a thing with the NHL and like a UFC thing, and like a couple, like they're not necessarily as forthcoming with their footage, so it's just like they know these people, right? So totally. Like when they call and get mad, and like you're just like, well, you can speak to our E&O people over here at such and such, and they're like, it's like the Newman of Simon. It's like
they just want to shorthand you and fucking grab a quick bag. Damn.
So it's very, as a documentarian, it's invaluable.
Right. So how many festivals did you take it to? Like, where do you feel like it had its changing moment of people that were like, oh, cool, let's buy this and put it, or I don't know if they bought it.
The first thing, when we got into Bend, they set up a press release for it, and IndieWire picked up Perfect Bid just because it's like the lowest hanging fruit. That's a nice thing with festivals, is like a lot of it is indie stuff. So if you have any sort of like accessible element to you, like they draw to it. So Price is Right is like the easiest thing in the world to put Bob Barker all over there.
Yeah.
So anyways, we got that article, and like within 48 hours there was 7 or 8 salespeople just like in our box saying like,
holy shit,
our boss said if I don't come home with this, I'm going to be in deep shit. And so then it all of a sudden became this like Scarface thing where you're leaning back, you're like
feeling really good.
But then like that was also, so that article came out in September. So if that timeline, September was when I just started getting in trouble with all those people. So it's like,
oh shit,
the scariest company in the world is like holding the metaphorical gun to your head, while the Hollywood world is like, you have the greatest thing ever, we can't wait to see it.
Right.
So you're like, I'm never going to get to show this, I have to show this.
Right. So
it became this tug of war of anxiety attacks and
but what'd you guys do to decide
madness.
who to sell to? Like, is it just the highest bidder wins or something?
We went with Gravitas Ventures.
Oh yeah.
And they basically work out a percentage where you own all the rights to your film still. So like we put out our own collector's edition Blu-ray and did a theatrical run ourselves and all these things ourselves. And they just take a certain percentage off all your first deals that they make. So if you sell to Netflix for $50,000, they take 25% of that off top and you get the rest.
Right.
For the rest of time.
Right.
But we've actually found a way around that as well. So we just launched our own distribution company.
Oh, sick.
Called Margaret Bird Pictures. And we are looking for movies as well as putting out all our own stuff from now on. That's why we bought back BB. So it's just like, it's this asset that we just immediately have that has like these marketable aspects. And even if it doesn't necessarily do anything right away, it's like I said, it's kind of like the long con of people. If the films that I'm going to make do what they hopefully are going to do, there will hopefully be an audience that will want to go back and check that out.
Right. Shit.
If not, I just want to buy it back just to give those people the middle finger.
Right, totally.
But I haven't closed the one deals, but they won't watch this. I'm not worried about it either.
And fuck you too. Close the deal.
Right.
There we go.
You're the best.
Would you say like that was your first time having something premiere on like Netflix and Hulu?
Oh yeah.
So this is the first time.
Yeah. BB did a bunch of like festival runs and stuff like that, but this was the first, like, your life changes. You're on Netflix. Like there's nothing different.
Yeah. How's that feel?
I mean, shit. It's like, I don't know. It's like social media isn't the indicator of anything, but it's just like when the movie was out, we'd screen it and you get a couple nice messages. But as soon as Netflix hit, it's like literally every 10 seconds, there's a new person saying you're a piece of shit or this is amazing. And what's the best part about it is that all these people that aren't celebrities check it out and they want to be the first person to tell their favorite person about this thing.
Yeah.
So all these randos just started hitting like radio DJ people, like, you have to watch this. Like people just spamming nonstop. And it's like, it's just starting to die down now. And it's like 6 months ago, whatever it is, May, however many months
That's
it is.
crazy.
But I mean, every project that I've tried to get made before Netflix was very slow. And I've closed like 6 or 7 things very quickly since Netflix, because you just say the word.
Yeah.
And people are just like, oh, I get that. I understand that. They don't understand film festivals and 25% and doing all this stuff, but they're like, they get Netflix.
Yeah.
There's nothing else. There's like, I'm like, I played at Cannes. They're like, for sure. I'm like, I'm at Netflix. Oh. Yeah. But that's like winning an Oscar.
Yeah. No, it ain't.
But that's a digital Oscar.
Yeah, exactly. That's so crazy.
Yeah. So it's like, and so now it's like you have a relationship with them. So now it's like the next things can hopefully, you get it easier in because you have that, that legacy system. So once you get in the door once,
you're good.
Yeah. And like I said, people just, if you're on Netflix, all these new people that are doing the new documentaries on, they just like, you don't have to, like my early pitch documentaries to people, the paragraph was this long. Like you read that sentence that made me cringe. Like the emails I send to people, I've done this and this and this, and you need to just try, and not even on an arrogant thing. It was just like, I've done all this. Please understand that I will look out for you.
Yeah.
I lost my spot. Damn it.
Doesn't matter.
Anyway, yeah,
it's
it doesn't matter.
It's great. I just feel like that's got to be the most rewarding thing to finally have that happen, and then to book jobs off of that. That's pretty fucking dope.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I save
get
time
to those
for this.
questions. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I feel like we covered a lot of good shit. What you said you had like the NHL, NFL.
I'm talking to two people. One has a motion picture holding deal.
Sick.
So we have to wait for that to go away.
Oh,
because you cannot make a narrative hockey movie in America. Right. It's not going to happen. And I told my man that. I'm like, these people they're big movie people for sure. They made like real sports movies, but it's like they were basketball and had Samuel Jackson. And like this dude, it's just, and they know kind of.
Right.
So I was like, I'm going to make this documentary, and they're like. And they're like, we don't know if this is going to help us or hurt us with what we're trying to do. And so I think we're going to get the documentary worked out.
But you have several like doc projects coming up.
We're doing animation. I'm filming with Michael Bisping tomorrow.
Nice.
Like I'm clearly not a UFC guy, but I've casually watched it just because it's Saturday. It's on.
Yeah.
So it's the same. It's as bizarre as me going into rap was back in the day. It's just this weird new group of people that does something that's like I watch and just like I couldn't do it.
Yeah, get your ass beat down.
Yeah, so like I just watch it. You just will like nothing. I just kind of like zone into it, and I don't watch violent stuff really or whatever. But it's just like I just kind of like.
But I think that's who they want. That's like any experience I've had. Like when I work with EA Sports, like don't fucking know games, also sports. So when I do a Madden campaign and I have to work with like NFL superstars, they like it from my perspective because I'm who they're trying to sell to. They like want me, if I play video games, to like direct something that could relate to people like me, that could be fun, and then you know what I mean. That's kind of like, I don't know. In my opinion, that's actually not my opinion. That's what the client said. Like, we like that you fucking don't know shit. That's tight. And I'm like, all right, Wikipedia.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to these questions. Well, so I just wanted to highlight some of the things that are coming. That's cool. Yeah, there's questions, man. So this is our Patreon only Q&A. So if you aren't a part of our Patreon group, you should totally do that. Yeah, exactly. Patreon.com/BlackWithNoCream.
Honestly, this would be the only stuff like this is what you should be supporting on.
100% agree. We have a Facebook group, which is tight because it's like a place, and then this is just like the way to financially help us make this shit happen.
I've been a part of a couple Facebook groups like yours, and I said to you before we started, like your fan base you've amassed, which is a compliment to you and your people, is just like they're so quality.
Man,
someone's like, "What?" Asked a really novice kind of silly question where most message boards would be like,
"Fuck you."
Here we go.
Yeah. They want to crack open their head,
and everyone's just like, "Well, if you turn the camera on and." Like, and then just put it to M or A for put
stick
it to
with
A
auto
to start.
First. Yeah. No, it is pretty crazy.
And there's like 10 of them writing that. What he said. Just look for on.
Right. You'll do fine now.
You'll be great.
You'll just stay in your room for a few days and then go outside.
Your homie's video, his thing will be fine.
Yeah. No, it's been fun to put it together, and I'm glad that it's like a place that people can, talk to people like you, which is fucking dope as shit. Because as soon as I post it, it's like I have one dude that just how many questions can I ask? I was like, as many as you want. I'll see what I pick.
That's crazy.
Now we'll knock these out real quick, but
I'll answer them short.
Yeah. So Colton says, "Yo, this is awesome. I'm currently working on a documentary. My question would be, in post production, how do you go about organizing all the clips and the interviews in a way that makes it easier to construct the story?"
Basically, and I use this for music videos too. I just usually watch the take once through and then chop out the bits I want and delete it and never watch it again. I go through all the footage once, and then like I said, just take, especially with how fast you have to do stuff. It's just that's basically all it is. I'll do it either by like tour day or whatever. Like Ted had different appearances, so you could put it in tape in one. But yeah, I said I started out editing, so I always shoot to edit. So I don't know. I'm kind of a little bit different, but definitely for music videos, I just like sync up the one clip and then put the other one right over top, and then like act as if those are my only 2 takes, and I just never look at those 2 takes again.
Right.
But for movies, once I'm done the edit, I watch everything again just to be safe. But just as far as stuff like that, it's just smart bins.
Do you have a transcode? Is that the fucking word? Get everything written, like everything from every interview translated.
No.
That I did on my last 2 documentaries, and it changed my life. I didn't write that shit. We paid it was like $1 a minute or something like that.
Wow.
To do, but we had like the last interview or the last doc we did, we had like 20 different people talking for 30, 45 minutes. But it became really cool because this is just a tip if anyone's listening. When we were like oh, he's talking about something having to do with this basketball experience. Did anyone else mention basketball? And you're just like keyword searching in Google Docs, and it takes you there, and you have the time code, and you can go to that interview and find that exact thing like immediately, versus looking through all my selects and kind of color coding shit. And I got lazy.
Oh, my color coding is crazy. Yeah.
But no, you should try it sometime. It's fucking pretty tight. If you
well, the guy that's directing the Bisming documentary, that's what he said to me. He was like, I gotta transcribe everything, and I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna copy paste out the chunks I want, and I'm gonna do it all down, and then I'm gonna build the edit. I was like, whoa, it sounds so not how I do it. And I'm like, wasn't hating him. I wanted to know how that worked.
It seems more complicated than it really is. If you just pay these, they haven't done it like fucking insane amount of time. I have no idea who's just waiting for me to send down like a long ass annoying interview. We just did it on a Cash Money doc, and it's so funny to read it because it's just all these rappers like, yeah man, live is dope. You know what I mean? They're just saying like crazy shit. It's like who had to write all this out? Like, but if you do, it is kind of like note cards, and you're moving your scenes around. You kind of know what you have to work with. But anyway, all right, sorry, I made that long. Sorry.
That's all right.
Nathan Emerson, he's the one that wanted to ask a bunch of questions.
Okay.
Let me see. Let's see.
I don't know who that is, so that's cool. I was worried it was going to be some friend with a fake name that I would know or something. Like, oh no.
They'd have to get in the Patreon first.
Oh, right.
How did you decide to spend festivals? All right, I'm going to ask you a couple of them. You can pick two. Okay. Right. He asked 4. These are all, but I think they're all good, and I'm sure we've covered some.
I'm with it.
How did you decide submitting to festivals, especially the importance of premiering? I guess he's wondering, like, why did you go festival route versus maybe using social or something instead?
Because festivals give you awards and sort of hype and notoriety to leverage your distribution and leverage your everything else.
If you go to his website, 40fps.com, and you go to documentaries, you see the posters, and he has the award logo in there, and that shit instantly, you don't even know, you might not even know what film festival is, but right away you're like, oh fuck, this shit did something. You know what I mean? Like it's just kind of like a verification badge on Instagram. It's like the same
Our
thing.
last one has like 15 of them. It's so obnoxious.
That's it. But
it's like you have it's like it's so hard to get into festivals, especially now, because I've been frankly told that kind of like if your film's on the bubble, they're going to go, you know, they'll try to find a female director or some, and which is totally fine, but that's just how so it's just like, to be just a regular white guy with some boring movie, it's like it's really hard to get into festivals.
Right.
It's very difficult, on top of how difficult it just is in general. So it's like those laurels are like you said, they're verification badges. They're so hard to get. There's just so many people with their iPhones making Blair Witch 5, and just like, oh my god. And I can't imagine. We were for Ben film. Oh, never mind. Who cares? There was 4 questions. I was about to tell a story that wasn't important. His questions are important.
When should be the focus of distro outside of festival circuit?
Distribution?
Yeah, distribution.
When should that be the focus?
Yeah, what distribution, or when should distribution come into play?
Oh,
I don't know. I'm asking for him.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of like when he was saying too about the festivals. Like I use that as bait a lot of the time. Like the next feature we're shooting, we're going to start in January, and the Cannes cutoff is March 15th. So like I'm using Cannes as like my rally up the troops. Yeah. So like that. So I think he asked I don't know if he asked what festival you pick or how do you gear that way, but that's sort of what it is. When you're in pre-production, you want to create a bunch of urgency for people and like manufacture craziness, and everyone gets all hyped up. So it's just like I usually have the distribution and the festival we're going to target and our moves planned well in advance. So people that maybe are investing that don't know the process or just whatever sort of have like a roadmap that but you better know that you can hit them, otherwise you're going to never get money again from anybody. But that's basically what it is. It's just like you pick a target and aim for it, and even if you don't hit it, it's just like you get into another huge festival and maybe not Cannes, and everyone's just as excited because you get to dress up and play and do what you do.
I like that.
Yeah.
Let's do this. This is a good one to end it on. He says, aside from the art, what's the most important thing to budget for a small production? DCP, legal advice, publicity, etc. What would you say is the best thing to throw some money at? Someone actually just asked this in the we do a question of the day on those Wednesday episodes, the morning roast, and they asked like, if you had $10,000, what would you invest it into your business? So I guess say you had an extra $10,000, what would you use that for when it comes to filmmaking outside of like the art part of it, I guess?
Well, actually, just recently, and I'm kind of stealing Gravitas's model, is they spend exactly that amount of money on like Facebook ads. and they just send it directly. And like anytime I've done a Facebook ad, I might as well set the money on fire and filmed it because I would have got more attention from burning the 50 than or whatever to however much money. Than
That's
like actually doing it. Yeah,
that's so true.
Yeah. Like you have to do that amount. You have to do some serious. You need to get Mark Zuckerberg another whatever. Insert joke here. That I didn't have. So that's. I mean, at this point, I think that's really what it is. But if I'm just starting out, like you're saying, I mean, $10,000 is a movie. You don't need a star for your first one because only a select amount of people are going to check it out probably. You just need to make something interesting enough, and that's coming from you as much as possible. Because if you're just going out there to make Hostel 3 or whatever, Not So Inglorious Bastards or whatever, you're sunk. So I would just, like I said, that would be it. If you're far enough along and you're kind of midway, I would spend it on marketing because it's impossible to, like I said, there's so many things out there that just seems to help. And if that company does that to make their money, it just seemed to, it just, that's kind of what we're going to go forward with, I think, with that. Which is so simple and naive or whatever, but it's just that just seems to be what works at the moment. I don't know.
This man took $2,500 and they made a fucking film that landed on Netflix that got him plenty more jobs that I'm sure rates came in a little higher than $2,500 to make. We talk about that all the time, and it's always like you just do one job to parlay that into like 3 jobs, and that hustle of when you pick and choose your battles of, well, should I do this one for the cheap or should I stress myself out over this? It might not make money. It's like,
and I know you're trying to wrap it up, but I just want to put the positive spin on that. Is like, that's the thing. I never asked Musa or anybody for any money. Even when I was there, I'm like, I'm living here. They're flying me to shows. Everything's kind of cool. I got foods around. Everything everything was there, and like, of course you're supposed to get paid, but it was just like it was a situation where I was just like, I know what this brings to it, like this exposure and all these things. I know what this does, and it's like to ask for an extra $250 a week or $500 or do whatever. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it just, like you said, you have to just see what's beneficial to you and not always.
No,
the paying gig isn't always the thing. Like I've done almost everything I've done is for free. Almost everything major. Or I paid for myself. It's only just in the last 2 years, and I've been doing this 20 years.
That's crazy.
I said my biggest music video budget was maybe $15,000, and it was that Sarah Slean one I talked about that no one's seen outside of Canada. It's like
that's so crazy. That's incredible.
And now you get a big budget, and it's like you got to make 3 videos out of this big budget. And you're like,
oh shit! I know what I want to ask. The Mac Miller shit.
Oh yeah. That's time.
We'll wrap on that. Sorry.
Yeah, that's cool.
So with that, because I know it got a lot of buzz, because you basically wrote on Twitter first. You went to Twitter. You went to Twitter, and Mac passed, and he was like, "Yo, if everyone has content, like we should gather this for a future doc," and which blew up, right? Like everyone. I said
I am intending to shoot. Start to collect footage over the next year, like because like Wiz was gonna and like Spit, I was just gonna sit you down for 10 minutes. If we were in a room in a green room somewhere, just say, say something about Mac, just randomly collect stuff, and that went very bad for me.
What happened?
Well, I mean, I heard from Clancy, the manager, within 2 hours, and everybody just kind of said, now's not the time for this. And like I had messaged everybody, like Thundercat, like any person that talked to him, I'm just like, I'm wanting to do this. Would you like to be involved? I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to take any money. I'm going to give all them. It's nothing to do with anything. I just know I feel like I have the certain compassionate sensibilities with the way I do my stuff that I'm just whatever. I was just nervous that I just felt like I could do it.
Yeah, you've
that I was
done the legwork to be qualified to be able to piece it together.
And he wrote nice stuff on Twitter one time about the Jetflix series.
Yeah,
and I was just like, this would, and like there's a couple videos we put out after, and I like hid his graffiti or hid his album art in my album art, and like gave shouts out to him and all this stuff.
Yeah,
I just like
he's a great
the
kid.
Dude shit, and I really wanted to do a video for him. And I was just sitting there one morning, and it's like the first thing in the morning, I'm like, I'm obsessed about this stuff, so I'm just thinking about what the next thing is. And I looked over, and the only thing I have in my office is a 1990s football signed by the Buffalo Bills when they lost the Super Bowl that B.B. King used to own, and his son gave it to me on a tour. He's like, here you go, it's B.B. King's Buffalo Bills football. I was like,
fuck?
All right. And this Mac Miller tweet printed off that just said Jetflix is genius. I was like, that's all I have there. And it's just like, I looked at it and I was like, oh, I could make a thing for Mac.
Right.
I just like casually just like, I want to make a thing for Mac.
Right.
And then they called up and said, we would rather that you didn't right this second. I went, oh, for sure.
Right.
And then somebody found it, like a deadline, like some major publication found it, and then it was Clickbait City.
Right. Everyone's like,
I've never
doc getting made.
Inventing shit. Documentary's done. People are calling me up. It's too soon, you motherfucker. I'm like, I'm talking about collecting this for a year, editing it for 6 months, however long.
Right.
Festivals take 3 months. So we're talking 2021.
Right.
I mean, never mind anything. I was just like, whoa.
Right.
Because like all the time I see people leaking dudes' music and like selling art that they do, and that's totally cool. I'm with all of that.
Right.
But it's just like everybody's cool with everything that's going on, but for some reason the documentary was like, you piece of shit. Who do you think you are?
That's crazy.
And I was like, whoa. And I was like, this died 2 hours into the table. We lost the patient so long ago. And then it was like, family next day, family shuts down, ruthless fight. And then I'm getting calls from the scary lawyer people, and
you're like, yo,
Clancy,
I talked to the manager, bro.
And I might get another call after this, but it's okay. It's fine.
I think
everybody talks about, dude. I feel like it's okay to.
Yeah. No, I think it was it's a good attempt and a good. Obviously, we all hope that comes to life, right? Like his story will be told at some point, and whether it's too soon or not, it is one thing. But it's funny because I feel like it's a flash in the pan scenario where, hey, I have an idea. Cool. Hey, no, we don't want to do it yet. No problem. Light them up. Yeah. And then for someone going through that, it's obviously probably very fucking like nerve-wracking, and you're getting all these calls and hate messages and all shit. But then after a few months, I think that disappears.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, people are still sending me messages going, hey, bro, I look exactly like Mac Miller. Can I play the lead in your film?
Whoa.
To this day, I probably got one as we're sitting here.
Whoa.
People are still retweeting the Mac Miller documentary, and it's still happening. No one's MFing me at this point.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
But
like
it's still,
the hate
it's
part
still
of
alive.
it.
Yeah,
I think
sure.
people just hop on shit to ban. It doesn't matter. I think it'd be cool.
It was an interesting little glimpse into what like that, like your Beyonce, Jay-Z, when you got into that world.
Yeah.
That's like a whole nother level of famous where people are awesome and crazy, but a little bit crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And like in positive ways, but that also
facts.
It's two positives make us way too much energy.
You've had a wild ride to this point. Like this story has been fucking nuts to hear about, and I appreciate you telling all of our Black with No Cream listeners. This shit was dope.
Absolutely, anytime.
Fuck, man, it's just insane to hear how it all came together. Because I think you're right. Like everyone thinks currency. That's the beginning, and then it just happened. Then he made a movie, and there's so many pieces to the puzzle that no one ever really gets to hear about.
And I don't like to talk. I don't care. Like it's old stuff, but like.
It's helpful to the next person who wants to be that you. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
So appreciate you telling the story on here and shit. I always say to every my podcast guests, when we get to this point, I let you pick a hashtag, okay? So I tell everyone to go to your Instagram. What is your IG handle? Is it 40 FPS?
Yeah.
So go to 40 FPS, tag me on his latest, whatever your most recent photo is when you're listening to this shit right now. Tag at Ben Reverse World, and then you're going to put your hashtag that you're about to pick, so we both know that they listen to this podcast this far.
All right.
Because we're 2 hours. This is almost 2 hours. It's a good.
Really?
We'd cover some shit.
Oh, whoa.
We did it. It was good.
Yeah.
So if you listen for 2 hours, you're about to throw this hashtag
intense.
on IG right now.
I just calmed down in the last hour too, so people probably cut it off. And let's do the real bird's eye view.
Ooh. I heard that. Who the fuck did that shit?
Yeah.
That's tight. All right.
Because there's a situation that happened. A rapper grabbed
Travis.
my.
I did
What?
it. Was it you?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Bird's eye view with the black logo with the red eyes and the bird and the bird's eye view films and all that. Yeah. That's my man. I kept hitting him too. I'm like, hey man, like I wanted him to call me. I wanted him to like tell me to fuck off at least or something.
Who, Travis?
Yeah. But because I was verified at the time, so I knew he was seeing it. So I just kept hitting him and like, hey, what's up? Like kind of on some jokey shit because like I don't want to.
But what was the situation? It was you. It was a festival.
Yeah, he did like a world festival
and you
that
were
was
on
called
stage,
Bird's Eye View.
And you were filming on stage?
I was nothing to do with it. He just took the logo and the brand like.
Wait, I thought you were talking about the time where he kicked photographers off stage.
No, I'm just saying.
You're saying that came from your thing.
Now it's way too much because I meant it as a joke and now it's like serious. But
I'm trying to grasp it. I missed it.
For a very long time in hip hop, I've tagged my things with bird's eye view.
Got it.
Just because just with the bird, and I don't know, I did it forever.
Uh-huh.
So then all of a sudden I saw people hitting me with the bird's eye view tour, like, 40's going on rap tour. I knew you were going to start dropping some fire.
Yeah.
Which I will. And then I was like, wow, this is my entire company going on a multi-million-dollar tour. So, and my man started dropping things like a bird's eye view film and all this shit. And I was like,
you're like, damn, that's my shit.
Yeah. And so I tweeted him and he didn't say anything. And so I started hitting him. And then that Meryl Streep thing it was like that. So he was like, I don't fuck, old hoes. And then so I wrote, you don't do your marketing either, with Meryl Streep doing the thing. So I was having fun with it.
He's just in Canada, just like firing off tweets all day long.
I mean, I was honestly having fun with it because at the end of the day, whatever. But it was just like, and then he didn't message it, so I'm like, oh, that must be something then.
Right.
And even if it isn't, it was just fun to like.
Right. That's like
I got to get something fun out of it.
Macklemore and me have the same birth name, so it was a thing.
Yeah.
I know how it goes.
So, anyways, that's why I said the real bird's eye view was a joke,
that.
And then there was a scoff, which was funny.
See, I missed it, and now I put it together.
Yeah. So maybe we need to
late to the game.
Yeah. Maybe that's a bit we condense, or not.
Nope. Fucking, it was good.
Hey, I got rap beef. I'll drop a quick 16 on him. Not now.
I was like, please be my guest.
Yeah.
We'll end it on that shit.
I got more white bars in a Xanax factory.
That's fucking. Are you talking about like protein bars or swag?
Nothing to do about anything. Yeah.
How do you want to end this shit?
I should have ended it 5 minutes ago. I've been failing. The last little bit has been a nightmare.
Good. We earned it. We fucking talked for 2 hours.
Yeah. No one will watch this far.
They will. Watch. We'll get the hashtags. They'll happen.
All it takes is one person to like see the thing, and then it blows up into a thing.
Yeah. It will be.
It'll be fun.
No, it hasn't been like that yet. All right, that's the end of this shit. Appreciate you coming on the show, bro. That was fucking awesome.
This is honestly the best thing that is going. 100%.
Damn, I appreciate it.
Because we're the kickers. You're the you don't say you don't like sports. He's the Adam Vinatieri, the Nick Laurie.
I don't know these people.
He's a good kicker.
Doug, last thing I'm ending this on, my dad loved football, high school athlete, MVP, all that shit. Couldn't wait till his firstborn son could play football. I fucking hate that shit. I'm like, they tried to get me to play football. They took me to flag football. I don't know if you have that in Canada.
Oh, absolutely.
It's for pussies.
Yeah,
and
that's why Canada has it.
Yeah. So we go there, and I play one game. They're like, how was it? And I'm like, I don't like football. I don't play football. Why would I do this shit?
Yeah, there's no reason to.
And his heart was broken, and he kept saying, you could just be the kicker. They don't even get tackled. And I was like, fuck that. He's like, you can make a great living being a kicker. And I was just like, nah, man. I'm going to skateboard. I'm going to play paintball. Mm-hmm. I'm going to fucking live my life like that.
Cut to Beyonce and Jay-Z holding hands.
And he's side stage saying, you should have fucking been the kicker.
And then Jay-Z would have represented you.
Yeah, Jay would be like, what'd you say, man? And no. All right, this is the dumbest shit. I'm sorry, guys.
That was for the Patreon only.
That is for everyone's listening to it now. We just leave it all as one thing.
Right.
But thanks, dude.
We both got close and held the mic at the end.
We got to get the fuck off this shit.
Now we're doing radio voices.
I do radio voices. I gotta end this shit. I just keep talking forever. Appreciate you coming, man. Thank you very much.
Anytime. I'm stealing this mug.
Take it. I don't give a fuck. That's it for episode 124, I think. Thank you for listening. If you want to ask any of our future guests a question on the podcast, we leave that last little section there for our Patreon members to do a Q&A experience with our guests. So if you have ever had a question or you want to ask a question to the upcoming guests, and the guests keep getting better and better, sign up at patreon.com/blackwindowcream. Make sure to stay tuned because we got a great lineup of episodes coming out in the near future. Z, he founded DJ Booth and audiomac.com. Both websites are incredibly impressive. DJ Booth wrote a really, really cool article on me not too long ago about my work with like B&J and getting into this industry and stuff. I've just always been a fan of this website, and I'm glad that we finally were able to interview him. AudioMac is one of the biggest audio streaming platforms currently, and it's competing up against there with iTunes and Spotify and everything, and hearing from his perspective is incredibly valuable, especially for people who are starting their own business. So stay tuned for that. That's it. It's a good day for listening to a podcast. Glad you guys are here. All right, peace out. Bye.